Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular City Council meeting. Today is Monday, April 6th, and we are going to call this meeting to order. It is now 6:31, and we will be led in our flag salute by Councilmember Perez.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move to the roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Gama,
Here.
Councilmember Lopez,
Here.
Councilmember Perez,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez,
Here.
and Mayor McQueen Lejeune.
Here. And I will be doing the inspiration this evening, so thank you all for being here tonight. And I'm looking around to make sure that my words are going to be directed to some of our leaders and our staff, and then others in the room tonight. So as we gather here to start the month of April, the month recognized as Stress Awareness Month. I know this topic is something I reference a lot because sometimes I have difficulty in taking time to recharge and rejuvenate. So I'm going to just share with you some things that I have been thinking about myself this weekend, and hopefully we could all move forward and take the time for ourselves. Again, I'm glad to be sharing this topic in the room with so many of our city leaders, those that are here in the room, and then for those that are not here tonight. This observance, Stress Management Month, Stress Awareness Month, should remind us all of something deeply important. That while we work hard to build, improve, and serve our community, we must also take time to care for ourselves and to care for one another. In today's fast-paced world, stress can be often unseen. And yet, while unseen, it impacts our health and sometimes long-term, our families, and the ability to serve and thrive. So if we will listen for this month, we should pause. Some of us will, others will say we can't and won't, but at the very least, we should check in on ourselves. We should extend grace to one another. We should prioritize well-being, not just as individuals, but as a collective. Here in Port Hueneme, I believe we pride ourselves in being more than just a city. To me, this is observed through the work of our leadership, of our staff, of our employees, our community members, volunteers, partners, and even the philanthropists that we rarely get to see, but they're out there helping us further our community and our city. Whether it's through supporting our neighbors, creating safe and welcoming spaces, or simply offering a kind word, we each play a role in reducing the burdens that others may carry. So let this month serve as a reminder that strength is not only found in what we accomplish, but also in how we care for our minds, our body, our health, and how we care for each other. As we continue the important work before us this evening, may we do so with patience, understanding, and a shared commitment to foster a healthier and more balanced community for all. So again, thank you for being here, and may we all continue to lead with both purpose and care. Thank you. All right. So we are going to move on to public comments. These are comments not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Yes, first up is Becky Bruni.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff, and audience. I'm here tonight representing Real Guppy Outdoors, and we have our annual Surf and Turf Dinner coming up the 31st of next month. Tickets are $70. It's from 4 to 7 at the Channel Islands Yacht Club, and I do have tickets if anyone's interested. Thank you.
David Scrivener.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to ask for some help with homelessness on the beach. We've been having a bunch of people kind of migrate in here. These appear to be treatment-resistant people, I'm sure. The homeless liaison officer has offered them lots of help. Officer Frum seems very good at what he does, but we got people who are basically sleeping there for a month. Also, there are people down living in the rocks that have been there for a couple of years. I know the city has really made a lot of attempts to deal with this, including taking backhoes and filling the rocks up where they live, and they just move another 100 yards down the beach and start up again. So I'm asking for some sort of help with this. I don't know. I'm sure it's a problem for everybody. My personal belief is, if a person is homeless and down on their luck, they're willing to accept some sort of help. I think we should give it to them and encourage them to get better. But if they just want to turn down treatment and live on the beach and do drugs, I don't have any patience for it. So very clearly, PHPD's done a fantastic job in dealing with the west side of the city, which has been worse, except when Ormond Beach overflows our way. We're about to have this hit us because every year about this time we start getting an influx of people coming to the beach to live for the summer. And I don't know if I'm sure most of you have seen what's happening down in Ormond Beach. Oxnard is sending everybody out of Central and North Oxnard down to Ormond Beach. There's hundreds of people living in dilapidated conditions with trash every place. Last time I drove through there were at least 100 RVs. I have no many how many people are now back living on the slag pile, but when Oxnard finally does do something about this, they're all coming here. That's what's happened in the past. So I'd like to bring that to your attention and ask for help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg Ross. And Mr. Rollins, you'll be after Mr. Ross.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, esteemed City Council. First of all, I'd like to say that I've lived in 3 different cities in Ventura County since 1970. This is by far and away the best. Love Port Hueneme. Do have a question that I don't expect an answer to. With these city council meetings, when do you guys eat dinner? Before or after? Because I don't miss many meals, okay, as you can tell. All right, so getting down to the nuts and bolts of what I want to talk about is, first of all, this city is so responsive. And tonight I want to highlight the police department because I can think of 3 instances very recently where someone was doing donuts out in the pier parking lot. They nailed him. DUI. Took his car. That's fantastic. Then we've got truckers that are speeding down Hueneme Road, and there's a PD cruiser right there, slowing them down. Love that. This is responsiveness that we don't expect in other cities that we get here, and thank you for that. So what I'm really here to talk about, and you have a little handout there, I hope, about the fire department from Ventura County, right here. Along with the responsiveness of this city, the Ventura County Fire Department is very responsive. They've done so many studies with so many different weather stations. And what I've got here is a map that was given to me by Chief Williams. These are lithium-ion batteries, okay? These are only going to get more and more prevalent on the port. These are dangerous. And we are at the mercy of whatever country, be it India, China, wherever they're being produced. So if they don't do a good job of making them secure so that we're protected, we're in harm's way. This is the map down here of where the plume would go if there is a fire. I say if, it's really more like when there's a fire. This map is really dangerous because it will put in harm's way 15 to 25,000 residents of Port Hueneme and Oxnard, South Oxnard. So it's an important thing to think about. These fires can't be put out, as witnessed by many, many other situations. And Chief Williams, Deputy Fong, et cetera, they're all saying, Chief Gardner, they're all saying the same thing. Can't put them out. So what can we do? Please don't just say Amber Alert, because I agree that maybe that's not enough. Maybe we need a really loud siren from the port.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rich Rollins.
Good evening, staff and city council. Tonight I'm here to show you my shirt. My shirt represents the sizzling seniors who have been in operation for over 25 years. What's neat about the program is that it provides a great opportunity for seniors. Now, seniors start at 50 years old here, but they go all the way to 95 years old. And every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over at the Carpenter Center, there's close to 75 people there exercising. And what's more important is not only are they exercising, but one of the things that our mayor talked about is dealing with stress. They get to socialize. They get to share their experiences and their pitfalls and things like that so they don't feel all alone. And so it's a really neat program. It's run by Sharon Claris, who's been doing it, and she's got, like, if you all know her, she's got like unending energy. And I just wanted to kind of mention it because it's the 25th anniversary. That's it.
Great, thank you.
Brian Schumacher.
Good evening, Mayor McQueen-Lejean, council members, and staff. My name is Brian Schumacher, and I serve as the Advocacy and Community Impact Manager for Autism Society of Ventura County. I'm here this evening on behalf of our dedicated advocacy committee and the many autistic individuals and families who call Port Hueneme home. We're here tonight to offer our strong support for your proclamation declaring April as Autism Acceptance Month. Thank you for demonstrating your continuing commitment to affirming the autism community here in Port Hueneme. And thank you also to Easter Seals Southern California for your decades of service to our community. And congratulations on receiving this honor tonight. So this recognition truly matters. It sends a clear message that autistic residents of all ages are seen and valued and recognized for their contributions as part of the fabric of this community. According to the CDC, 1 in 31 individuals in the United States is diagnosed with autism. Here in Ventura County, that represents thousands of children and adults navigating schools, workplaces, healthcare systems, and public spaces, often advocating for understanding, accessibility, and opportunity. We also want to acknowledge that this proclamation reflects something we've consistently seen from this council. You have listened to community voices and supported inclusive playgrounds, accessible events, and opportunities that strengthen connections across our city. Those actions make a meaningful difference for families. Autism is a spectrum. Some individuals require significant daily support, others live independently, some communicate in non-traditional ways. All deserve dignity, respect, and the opportunity to thrive and be celebrated. By recognizing Autism Acceptance Month, the City of Port Hueneme continues moving the conversation beyond simple awareness and toward meaningful inclusion. In the same inclusive spirit, I'm excited to share that Ought to Run is coming up on April 26th at CSU Channel Islands, where registrations are still open, and you can visit ought2run.org for more information. Please just know that we're so grateful for your leadership and for the example that you set in building a community where everyone belongs. Thank you.
Patty Quiros.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here on behalf of the Office of Assemblymember Steve Bennett. Just want to invite everybody to an event we're having this Saturday at Oxnard College. It's a bike rodeo and resource fair. So this is a family-friendly event. It's free. Kids, adults, anybody can come, learn, practice, and demonstrate their bicycle handling skills. So we're working with some local groups like Bike Ventura, Gold Coast Transit District, Oxnard College, and the Oxnard Police Department. We just really want to create a space to promote bicycle riding, but we want everybody to do it in a safe way. So we'll have some safety courses, some bicycle skills competitions, helmet fitting, safety checks and inspections, and we'll conclude with a community bike ride at the end of the event. So I invite you all and the residents of Port Hueneme. Hopefully you can join us this Saturday, April 11th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Oxnard College. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes public comment.
Great, thank you. We are going to move to our agenda for approval. Is there a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously.
Great. Are there any conflict of interest related to any of the items on the agenda this evening? No? We're going to move on to our presentations. First, we have the Fair Housing Month proclamation. We're going to ask that representatives from Ventura County Coastal Association of Realtors come up to the podium while Councilmember Lopez reads the proclamation.
Proclamation for Fair Housing Month, April 2026. Whereas the Fair Housing Act, enacted on April 11th, 1968, enshrined into federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, family status, national origin, and disability, and commits recipients of federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities. And whereas Ventura County Coastal Association of Realtors and the Real Estate Fraud Advisory Team are committed to highlighting the Fair Housing Act by continuing to address discrimination in our community by supporting programs that will educate the public about the right to equal housing opportunities, and by continuing partnership efforts with their organizations to help ensure every one of their rights to fair housing. And whereas the City of Port Hueneme is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities, and whereas social fabric, the economy, health, and environment are strengthened and diverse, inclusive communities, and whereas more than 50 years after the passage of Fair Housing Act, discrimination persists and many communities remain segregated. And whereas acts of federal housing discrimination and barriers are equal housing opportunities are repugnant to common sense and decency and fairness. And whereas the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics commits all realtors to provide equal professional services without the discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, familial status, handicap, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin. Now, therefore, the City Council of Port Hueneme, California does hereby proclaim April 2026 as the Fair Housing Month and begins a year-long commemorative of the Fair Housing Act in the City of Port Hueneme, and urges all citizens to wholeheartedly recognize and celebrate throughout the year. Proclaim this day, 6 April 2026.
Great, thank you, thank you.
Tongue twister.
Over to you, please have some words.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council members and the community. We are here to take this honor. We honor you too. We are here for the community. We honor this act and this month for fair housing. And in fact, I want to give a proclamation to Dr. Martin Luther King. Historically, his being there, and unfortunately his passing and his assassination also pushed this forward. So I want to give him some honor here too. And we are very, very, very pleased to work with you, and thank you, and honored to take this proclamation and support our community and support these high levels of ethics. So thank you so very much. Oh, I'm Jerry Becker. I'm the president of Ventura County Coastal Association of Realtors. And I have a couple of members here with me, Luis Mendez and Bob Davis, and Rob Leatherwood, our government affairs director. So thank you again for the proclamation.
Great, thank you. We're going to take a photo.
Do you want to go?
No, you're going to go.
Oh, I have another thing. May I just
right ahead.
take the liberty? On this month, April 22nd, I'm inviting everyone here, the whole community. We are having a fair housing summit at the County of Ventura County Museum. It's from 11 to 3. It is full of information and resources, and we hope that you can attend with us. Thank you.
One, two, three.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. We're going to move to our second presentation, the Autism Acceptance Month proclamation. And we're going to, oh, sorry. And so, yes, Chief is going to come to the podium and introduce our guests, and then we'll have Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez read the proclamation. Yeah. That's nice.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, April is Autism Acceptance Month. Your police department will be participating, as we have in past years, in celebrating this month by donning both patches on some uniforms, shoulder patches, which do look a little unique from our current patch. And some of us will be wearing a variety of our autism awareness, autism acceptance pins. Tonight, for our proclamation, we are inviting a team from Easter Sales, Southern California, Vissy Kabari Wright, the Regional Clinical Director for Autism Services for Easter Sales, and Leanne Colbert, who's the Regional Vice President for the Autism Therapy Services for Easter Sales. Do you want to come up while I'm talking? Yeah. Welcome. Folks, when you think of Easter Sales, you got to think for more than 100 years. Easter Sales is a nonprofit that has empowered people with disabilities through advocacy and life-changing disability and community services. They have supported people with disabilities and their families at all ages and stages of life. My own cameo, our own cameo, the police commissioner, when she was a baby, had received services from Ventura office of Easter Sales. With children with cognitive delays when they're born, especially in Cameo's case, if not for an incredible team of people at Easter Sales, our children do not learn on their own to roll over as babies or to lift themselves off the ground. It is incredible folks at places like Easter Sales that make this happen. Easter Sales makes a lasting difference each day by providing essential disability and community services to children and adults and their families. And this includes members in our autism community. With that, we have a proclamation for you. Do you want the video first?
Yes.
Sure.
Let's do that.
Thank you. We are very honored to accept this proclamation. This year, Easter Seals, as mentioned, we've been around a long time, over 100 years. We are launching our campaign, Everyone Belongs. So our campaign last year was Celebrate, Don't Separate, and this year we're really excited to step into Everyone Belongs, and we'd like to share this video.
Belonging begins when you create space for individuals with autism so that everyone can show up and be themselves. No judgment.
I like your bracelets. Thanks, I like yours too. Thank you.
Belonging begins by meeting the need.
Hey! Usual.
With small gestures like dimming the lights or just serving up good vibes.
To the best latte in town. Claro.
Belonging begins by realizing that support looks different for everyone. It can make an autistic person feel understood and valued. Because belonging isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It's a series of real moves like lowering our voices. It's keeping routines like,
I want movie. Come on, Paul.
or making room for others, standing together, and shaping spaces where everyone with autism belongs. Discover ways to create belonging at eastersteelsautism.com.
Great, thank you. We're going to move to the proclamation. Yes.
Good evening. This is the proclamation for Autism Acceptance Month, April 2026. Whereas April is designated as Autism Acceptance Month, and whereas autism, also known as Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD, represents a broad group of disorders that vary widely from mild to severe and is characterized by difficulty with social interaction, communication, severely limited interests, and repetitive behaviors. And whereas the lifelong nature of ASD and other developmental disabilities requires a variety of types of assistance at different points in an individual's life, and whereas our understanding of autism has grown tremendously since it was first diagnosed, as there is no known cure for autism. Early diagnosis and the resulting appropriate education and intervention are vital to the future growth and development of the individual. And whereas a variety of public and private organizations and agencies strive to provide quality care, support, or services to children and adults with ASD to enable them to live as independently as possible and to reach their full potential. And whereas hope lies in a broad spectrum of treatments and in an informed public and community committed to providing support and service to individuals diagnosed with autism spectrum disorders, and whereas the Port Hueneme Police Department will wear patches and pins as an outward expression of an inner commitment to connect with our community, to create acceptance and support those dealing with this lifelong neurological disorder. And whereas we join the Southern California Easter Seals, or the Easter Seals of Southern California, in proclaiming April 2026 as Autism Acceptance Month, now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Port Hueneme does hereby recognize and proclaim April 2026 as Autism Acceptance Month.
Great, thank you. Did you have any other comments that you'd like to make?
We just wanted to share some of the resources for our new campaign with all of you.
Great.
So here, and then I'll leave some at the end.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, so we'd like to take a photo, so come on up.
Do both groups, or
do what?
Both groups, the
We're gonna step up here.
Ventura County Autism, or just the Easter Seals people?
Oh, is it just one group, or is it just one group? Just one. Okay, great, thank you.
One, two, three.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move to our next item. Chief, it seems like you're in concert tonight. You're lead singer
Yeah,
in
talk about
concert. So we're gonna-
talk about stress.
Yeah.
Stress month. You get 3 presentations in a row.
Yeah, so we're going to move on to the proclamation recognition honoring your police officer. So go
The-
right ahead.
The incredible Detective Rocky Lopez. So, should I just bring you up here now?
Can?
We are celebrating the retirement, and I say celebrating because it's well-deserved retirement, of Detective Rocky Lopez, AKA Lopez Sr., Roque Sr., and I'll explain that in a minute. When you hear this proclamation read, you will hear, He started with us in the 1980s as a reserve police officer and then went on to work in the Oxnard School District and later Cal State Channel Islands Police Department. But you will also hear that after his son, Roky Lopez Jr., came to work for the department over 20 years ago, Roky Sr. came back to work for us here as well, as a reserve officer again, and then later as a full-time officer later in life after his other successful careers. During that time as a full-time officer and detective, Roky was a dedicated detective working all crimes, including difficult homicides. However, there was a time when he handled several crimes against children investigations. And he built a reputation among his peers and supervisors as being a tenacious investigator who sought justice for his young victims. These are some of the most troubling and difficult cases to work. Anybody who's worked detectives in this field will tell you that. And during his time as an FTO, he trained the majority of the department's current officers on patrol, if not everybody that's on patrol, and our senior officers. And he has been a mentor to so many in the department. And when I say mentor, I mean he is the only person left in the department who started here in the 80s before me. So for that, he has also been a mentor to his police chief. He worked with people that some of them were gone before I got here a few years later. So the institutional knowledge and his work in the community and his work with young people in our community, and I talk about somebody who came out of the school district world to come back to police full-time. He volunteered for school district duties, student attendance board, and other things like that because he cares. So as we lose senior Detective Roky Lopez, he has left an incredible mark on this police department, and he will be greatly missed. We appreciate you so much, brother. And presenting to him his department plaque for Detective Roky Lopez in recognition of over 20 years of dedicated and exemplary service to the citizens of Port Hueneme, and for your unwavering loyalty and commitment as a member of the police department. Your dedication as a reserve officer, police officer, field training officer, and detective will never be forgotten. We wish you the best on your retirement. It is with sincere gratitude that we present you with this token of our respect and esteem.
Great. We're going to have Councilmember Gama to read the proclamation, and then we'll come back to you for words, officer.
Thank you, Mayor. City of Port Hueneme proclamation honoring Police Detective Roky Lopez for his service to the City of Port Hueneme. Whereas Detective Roky Lopez began his distinguished law enforcement career from 1985 to 1987 as a reserve police officer for the Port Hueneme Police Department. And whereas Detective Roky Lopez returned as a reserve police officer with the Port Hueneme Police Department in 2006. During his reserve officer time, he worked as a full-time police officer with the California State University Channel Islands Police Department. Detective Roky Lopez then decided to dedicate all of his service time to the Port Hueneme community by transferring to a full-time police officer position with the Port Hueneme Police Department in 2011. And whereas during his police officer tenure, he served as a patrol officer, academy instructor, reserve officer program coordinator, Hueneme School District Attendance Review Board member, Ventura County Peace Officers Association board member, training officer, and detective. And whereas during his tenure as a field training officer, he was known as a dedicated trainer and mentor to most of the current officers in the department. And during his tenure as a detective, he was known for his reliability and strong work ethic, especially in the many crimes against children cases he investigated seeking justice for the young victims. And whereas Detective Lopez has received numerous letters of commendation and awards during his service to the community, including Peace Officer Association of Ventura County Investigator of the Year in 2022, and whereas his colleagues know him as a dependable teammate and friend who takes pride in his work with the community and our youth, and who is always ready to lend moral support or a helpful hand when needed. And whereas Detective Lopez has improved the quality of life for the residents of the city of Port Hueneme during his tenure with the police department and will be greatly missed. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of Port Hueneme hereby recognizes and honors Police Department Roky Lopez for his over 20 years dedication, commitment, and service to our community and wishes him well in his future endeavors. Proclaim this 6th day of April, 2026. Congratulations, sir.
Well, one of the things that I have never been is a big public speaker, so bear with me on this. You know, there's a lot of people that I need to thank for my success, and some of them are standing right back there right now. They put in the hard work. For me, it was kind of easy. Some days you pull my hair out, but you know, they came through. No, just joking. Leaving for that amount of years and coming back, you can imagine that, you know, the world keeps going and things change. This department has evolved into one of the better that I've been associated with. Not talking bad about the college or, you know, anywhere else. I mean, they all have their unique abilities there, and their officers are great as well. Being here have given me the opportunity to work for a few chiefs have come and gone. But I have to say that working for Chief Federico has made the biggest impact on me. His treatment of his officers, his staff, from, you know, even the janitors, anybody that walks through the PD. I've never experienced that. He champions his officers. He challenges us to do our best and to keep moving forward, which many of them have, and they will be, or I'll come back and hurt them. But it's been my pleasure to be able to do all those things. Certainly being a detective was an honor for me. Especially since it involved small children who were abused and stuff like that, and I was able to have effective impact on the non-human people who were hurting those children. So if this man is in charge of this department for a few more years, this is just going to be incredible here. And again, I haven't been paid to say these nice things about him. And if you can ask some of the officers that I've trained that I don't usually say things that I don't mean. Sometimes it's a little strong-worded stuff when I feel like they were going to get me in trouble or hurt, but it's all part of the training. So. To them, my gratitude to all the young men that are back there, from the dispatchers to even the explorers. They're all great kids. Hopefully they all continue their journey and become police officers, and hopefully it's here. Because if they do, then the city is going to be well covered for a long, long time. And again, my hat's off to Chief Federico. As I said, the other chiefs, they brought stuff to the department. It's a matter of opinion, I guess, whether some was good, some was bad. But it's been a tremendous difference between Chief Federico's tenure here in the past 20 years. He truly has at least opened my eyes when he first started here, is that he really cares about his personnel. He'll go the extra mile to make you feel comfortable at home. Make sure you're fed. It's probably not a good thing, but I mean, it's a nice gesture. But it's hard to find chiefs that have that ability to nourish and be, sensitive enough to listen to their officers and to actually give them advice that's helpful rather than just suck it up and get out there. Which I did experience that at another department, but I won't say which one. So in my opinion, this man has worked miracles here. The officers that are, again, some of them are back there, that we hired, for whatever reason, there are other agencies they applied for didn't take them. That was their loss because we gained millions by hiring them, having them here. So, in training those officers, it just made my job really easy because they're a lot smarter than I am. So, if you live in Hueneme, rest easy. You're well protected. Well protected. So, and as I said, it's the chief steers the ship, and he's done an incredible job of doing that these past years. And he's motivated the staff here like I have never seen before. So, yeah, I'm a little sad because, well, not a little, a lot, because I won't be a part of that anymore. In spirit, yes, but to be able to watch it and experience it it was incredible, and something I will never forget. And certainly I won't forget the guys back there, the good ones and the bad ones, but they're not bad ones. They're not bad ones. Just the ones where I maybe pull my hair a couple times on some things that happened, but nothing really that bad. I joke. I'm sorry. So anyway, it's been my pleasure to be here all these years and to, have a hand in protecting the citizens of the city, staff too, because we have each other's backs. So thank you for letting me stand up here and talk.
Great.
So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Give us just a couple of minutes. Do you have anything?
Yes, I got you. I'd just like to extend our gratitude for your dedication to our community, the city of Port Hueneme, your service and your dedication. Thank you for coming back to us. Your fingerprints are all over the place, and you will be remembered through the training of our officers, which is great. You have been a cornerstone of our community, and I just want to take this time to thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, I think our mayor started off with something really important that is probably appropriate, Stress Awareness Month, and you retiring and being able to be at ease and not have the stress that comes with the job behind you. Although I know you miss it and, still figuring out what you want to do in your retirement, but I'm sure your wife is happy to have you home and safe and not have to deal with that. But maybe we'll see about that. If I know the Lopez's, you might be driving your wife crazy. But thank you for your service and thank you for your commitment to our community and thank you for a job well done and everything that you've done. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I got to know you at Oxnard High School, where you were there every day protecting students, being at football games. And then it was a pleasure to see you come over here and then to learn that you had worked here before and you're coming back. And here we are in our old age. I don't think you'll retire. I don't know if you know how to sit around. I can see you being active, and there's plenty of things. Yeah, and so stay in touch, get involved. We're here, and I really appreciate the service. And I look behind all these wonderful officers behind you, and they're young, very young compared to me and you. And I think we're in good hands. And maybe not your fingerprints, but you're definitely, definitely your influences here in the room. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.
Detective Roque, Lopez, thank you so much for all your years of experience. Every time I'm out, I always see you. I can't say that about the other officers, but I see you all the time. You're a mainstay in this community, and you're always friendly, always professional, at least to me, when I see you out in public. So thank you again for your many years. I hope we continue to see you out in our community.
Thank you.
Great. I think everything's been said. Just so glad that you were able to serve our community. And it's nothing like retirement for those of you who have been able to be retired, like myself and a couple of people. But hopefully you won't be like me and be more busy in your retirement than you were at work. And the final thing is, you said that you're not a public speaker, but I beg to differ. You did really well. So thank you. Thank you for all your service and being here today.
One last thing is this I can't say enough about Chief.
Head down.
I know, but he, God, you know, having been here all these years, it's night and day, night and day. Staff is, you know, actually happy to come to work. And there was a period there in the past where it didn't look too good. But now it seems like everything's on the right path, way to go, and I attribute it to the chief.
Right.
He set the tone.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to do two things. We're going to take a photo with your family, and then I think, do the officers want to come and take a picture as well? Second? Okay. We'll do two. We'll do the family, and then we'll have the officers come down.
And when Roque was saying the good ones and the bad ones, I think he didn't mean bad. He meant the difficult ones to train.
Not the bad ones.
See retired Sergeant Perez, Rick Perez, for the list of people that he's over there. He's over there mumbling.
One, two, three.
Okay, you all want to come down? You all want to come?
One, two, three.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now we are going to move right along to item D, our Port Hueneme Police Department Annual Report. Back over to you, Chief.
I'm just a little taken back by somebody going out the door not trying to test for promotion. Makes you want to cry. He's a good man. We're going to miss him. Good evening again, everyone. I'm going to be presenting your 2025 year-end report. I will touch on some things that we've accomplished over the last couple of years, and I will touch on some things that are coming up in 2026 while I give this report. But as you hear the accomplishments and what's happened in here, it's because of the folks that just walked out of this room. We run with a motto that none of us are smarter than all of us in this department. And that, public safety is teamwork. And it's not just teamwork within the department, it's teamwork within this community. One of the best things about a smaller city, because I worked in bigger cities, is that I love to hear residents talk about us being responsive, but when I can meet with all the members of all my HOA coalitions in a meeting. We only have a handful of coffee houses that you can run into everybody in town. It's not hard to be responsive. You just got to be present and in place. And that's what happens here. Whether it's coming from City Manager James Vega or your other department heads in the city, we are present. Okay, year-end report. So, reminding you of our mission, vision, and values that we recently brought to the police department in the last couple of years, brought together by the team, is that our vision is leading our community's efforts in safety, enrichment, and engagement, and our mission, serving our community with respect, compassion, and courage. And you will hear respect, compassion, and courage throughout the work we do and throughout the presentation. Our values: respect, integrity, compassion, courage, and a strong point to employee enrichment and wellness. And yes, as an agency, we put that into our values. Quick note, you'll hear later, it's the first time ever the Port Ordonia Police Department has attended the California State Peace Officers Memorial. And I will mention that later, but that is your favorite motorcycle officer. It's Anthony Martinez at attention at the memorial in Sacramento. So staffing levels. Our total funded positions are 24 sworn officers and 13 professional staff with 5 volunteer reserve officers. So at the end of 2025, we had the 1 police chief and 1 commander. And in Field Services Division, we had 3 sergeants with 1 vacancy, and one of those is a collateral traffic motor sergeant. Senior officers, there's 3 in our Field Services Division, that's patrol and traffic, with one of them being a collateral motor. Of your police officers, in addition to that staff I just mentioned, is 9, 2 vacancies, and 2 of those 9 are canines handlers. But keep in mind, we were very happy that we were the first agency in Ventura County to get fully staffed in the year prior to this. That's not easy to do. When the bigger agencies have vacancies, they tend to fill up before we do. We filled up first. And then unfortunately, due to a death in one's family, and they had to move back to the East Coast, and another one had a serious medical issue, and the family asked him to go back and run the family business, which I don't blame them for doing. They did try to stay on as reserve officers for a while, but it's really hard to fly out from New York and be a reserve officer. We had 5 reserves by the end of the year, and 1 community service officer, and the 2 parking officers that had been there for their full complete year, brought back over from community development. Your investigative services, there's 2 sergeants assigned. Detective sergeant running the shop in-house, and then 1 sergeant, Baltazar Tapia, who's assigned to the Organized Retail Theft Task Force, which has been an incredible success throughout the county and their accomplishments. And then if you saw our recent caper, one of their largest capers was one that started here in Port Hueneme a couple of months ago, and just having the relationship with the business and the cooperation and them calling us and looking into the case and handing it to ORT, the 2 suspects in our city had already hit a whole bunch of Ross stores, and it led to a much bigger chain and fencing, and that's the kind of stuff ORT does, because the manpower involved in an investigation like that and the resources are tremendous. So we offer 1 person to help lead that team, but there's a whole handful of police officers from other cities and deputies that help to run that case. Again, with staffing levels on the administrative side and our support staff, we have our Support Services Division Manager this first full year with a full-time Support Services Manager. That's Frank Montalongo. He's doing incredible work. And then in dispatch, we have 1 dispatch supervisor and 5 dispatchers, but keep in mind all of them, including the supervisor, have a shift to tend to, so we always try to have as many on during the busy hours as we can, and the least on during the slowest hours. 1 property and evidence technician and 2 senior records technicians. We have 13 explorers. By the end of the year, we had 13 explorers and 2 chaplains, and even since then, we're always gaining explorers. Remember, 14 and up. Anybody who wants to send their explorers to the police department, send those kids 14 and up. That's the latest picture of your department as a whole, minus just a couple of folks. We tried to duplicate a picture from 1985 that was on the gazebo with about half as many people. And the photographer we had come up to handle that, professional photographer, does agencies and military all over the world. He did individual photos of our personnel. He did that abstract stance, which was different than we ever did, but it's cool. You can see everybody in the picture. And we did not pay for that as a city. I funded that whole thing. He was an incredible person. He worked us a real good deal. Economic development, I paid to put him up in the hotel across the street, Holiday Inn Express, shout out, and had him come in and do this because it gave us the opportunity to have individual shots for all of the personnel in the department in their latest Class A uniform. Call summary, 911 calls. 7,000, just over 7,000 911 calls last year. Remember, that's 6 people trying to handle all that. And administrative business line calls, 21,000, just over 21,000. So your total calls coming in there in 12 months is over 28,000. Incident summary, we had 18,620 incidents, includes calls and initiated activity. We took 1,836 police reports. Most common incident type was subject disturbing calls and your traffic stops and disabled vehicles. That's why you see us out there on the roads a lot. Your homeless related calls, just like last year, they still hover between 5 and 10% of our calls for service. Quality of life incidents. These are the shot of your quality of life incident calls and how many were received over the year. Animal complaints, 150. Fireworks, 251. It's the 3rd year in a row of a reduction. They always go between 10 and 13%. It's another 13%, and then a little less the year before and a little less. So some of the strategies we implemented in 2023 when I got here, which was attack the problem before the 4th of July. And when I get to grants, I'll tell you, we were able to use grant money to supplement extra officers out just to go after the fireworks problem. And then on the last 4th of July we deployed the drone not only before the 4th of July, but on the 4th of July, we deployed our drones. And they were very successful because nobody knew they were above their heads, including the gentleman who was dealing fireworks out of his pickup truck traveling through Marina Village, who didn't understand why he got pulled over when he pulled out onto Hemlock. And when he denied having anything in it, they could easily just show him the video and say, you need to step out of the truck. Plus, anybody who hides fireworks, maybe they haven't heard about Giorgio, explosives canine, but he can sniff that stuff out, and he does a pretty good job of it. Even if you're on our beach and you think you can throw it in the sand, he will go find it in seconds. So a lot of resources were deployed. Juvenile disturbing calls, 60. 60 is about 30% less than last year. And the interesting thing about that is our juvenile arrests are down about 30%. If you recall, one of the things I really pushed for when I first got here was a juvenile diversion program in the department. I helped put together a very successful one down at Santa Monica, and I thought we could use it here. And we did. And remember, some of the first people we put into juvenile diversion were young men who were out tagging, and that is usually a repeat offense thing. And of those first ones we got into juvenile diversion, not only did they not repeat offend, but they actually a couple of them got involved in the program that was helping them, and that was City Impact, through City Impact. And I'll talk about juvenile diversion a little bit when I get down there. Keep the peace calls, vehicle disturbing calls are up, but I also believe that is because we've started a pretty heavy campaign of call us if you see it or video it if you can, and we do our best to go after the cars. Arrests, 506. Out of those, 24 are juveniles. Again, that's down about a third. So I'm hoping that our juvenile diversion efforts are leading to some of that impact. And 747 traffic citations. We still have bragging rights on our average response time to calls in the city. A lot of cities would like to get an average response time of under 3 minutes. This is overall of our priority 1, priority 2, priority 3 calls. This is them averaged, but you understand in some calls, high priority calls, violence in progress stuff, the call response time could be 30 to 90 seconds. There was a couple in the paper that you may have seen last year that our response time was like 1.5 minutes, and we got there and got people in custody. Crime stats and uniform crime reporting. So if you remember, we switched from the longstanding UCR to NIBRS. The Port Hueneme Police Department previously utilized the UCR, Uniform Crime Reporting System, which has been the data collection method for law enforcement agencies across the country for many decades. Since last year, law enforcement agencies have now transitioned to the NIBRS, National Incident-Based Reporting System. The change to NIBRS from the former UCR system can make the crime stats appear higher, which they did last year, in the first year of transition, is primarily because NIBRS captures a much more detailed picture of crime by reporting every offense within an incident. So if 3 people get robbed at the store, it's all 3 people. It's not one robbery with like 3 victims. If the person breaks into your house, it's a home invasion, and he steals your car, it's not just a home invasion robbery, it's home invasion robbery and the GTA of the car. So it makes your crime rates go up. But now we're all uniformed in that reporting. And there are now multiple reported crimes for some incidents that may have only had one in the past. This past year's report, what is noticeable about this year's past report is the overall crimes against persons total is down 2.36%. Overall crimes against property total is down 10.18%. And crimes against society total is down 15.11%. Combined, these make up your NIBRS Group A offenses, which is what the cities track. And Group A offenses as a total are down 9.73%. Your crime is down, Port Hueneme. So in the next slide, I'll go to each one, the categories, and I'll try to explain a little more. Thank you. So most significant increase crime against persons. These are your violent crimes and your crimes against individuals, such as rape reports. We went up from 3 reported in 2024 to 5 in 2025. And fondling reports, as NIBRS puts it, there were 3 reported in 2024 and 5 reported in 2025. The most significant decrease was homicides. There was 3 reported in 2024, and folks, last year, 0 homicides. When I first got here, 2023, within my first 30 days, we had a homicide, a street homicide shooting in Marina Village. At that time, I asked what we were doing for strategies in our approach to Marina Village, because for those of you who were here in the 90s, Marina Village was busy. In Marina Village, there was one block when I was a detective where I had 4 different gangs living at like Halyard and Tiller. And so in 2 weeks, I think we had 3 shootings. So we did a lot of strategies up there back then, and we deployed some of those when that shooting happened. But definitely 5 months later, when a Second Street shooting happens up there, we really put a lot of effort into it, including having a gun dog up there walking around and letting people know and getting the word out that Giorgio was out there looking for guns in the alleys, in the cars, and that's what he was out there sniffing for. So we put a lot in to help deter that. The most significant increase in crimes against property was that arson reports went from 5 reported in 2024 to 6 reported in 2025. I think one of the most worrisome ones was at the height of the LA fires, if you recall. We had a suspect set bushes on fire at Parkview School, and 2 incredible citizens got involved, one calling us and the other one following the suspect, which we don't always recommend. But if you're in construction and you have a tool belt and stuff on, you're gonna make your own decision. And we got that suspect, patrol got that suspect in custody quickly. But it was very scary, it was windy times, and we're all watching the west side of LA burn. So it's always a concern with firebugs out there. There was also an increase in theft larceny offenses from 274 reported in 2024 to 303 reported in 2025. Folks, you got to give some credit to the ORT team and the communications and what we're doing now. Not only do our businesses know, hey, give us a call. We have ORT funding, Organized Retail Theft Funding Grant, that allows us to put extra officers up in the shopping centers to help deter this. It's got a specific cause for the grant, and it's replenishment of overtime. If we spend it, they give it to us. So we did that, including having our motor officers up there so they can go through the parking lot. You can put bike patrol up there. But it told the businesses, hey, give us a call, because what was happening in the past several years in California is businesses were saying hands off on the shoplifting. They don't want their employees to stop. And they stopped calling out of frustration. And we had to change that, and we had to build the confidence and trust with them. So we built some of that, and we worked out great relationships. Plus, with the ORT money, we were allowed to do some undercover operations, and what store doesn't want some plainclothes officers hiding in their back room waiting for their security team to tell them there's a shoplift? So that increase was expected. And then the most significant decrease was burglaries and break-ins. Reports went 61 reported in 2024 to 28 reported in 2025. The most significant increase in crimes against society, and these are drug-related, alcohol-related, like weapon possession violations, not so much the actual crime against a person. And the most significant that went up was weapons law violations. In 2024, they went up to from 18 to 23. And with the recent addition, again, of Canine Giorgio being on patrol and getting guns off the street, we anticipated an increase in gun arrests. And so that's going to bring that number up. So it's actually a good number. We anticipated an increase in those weapons arrests, and we may see it again in the coming year. The most significant decrease was in animal cruelty reports. We had one reported in 2024, and there were no reported animal cruelty incidents in 2025. And maybe the word got out that we were bringing back police canines, and if you mess with the cousin of Giorgio or Gator, maybe we'll come look for you. And that's the breakdown of our crime stats with our two furry heroes, Gator and Giorgio. And I cannot thank this community enough for getting us Gator. He is working his butt off. Him and Tubbs right now are making great arrests, and his nose is getting to places that we can't see or find stuff. Annual DOJ reporting. Every year we give you a report on SB 54, all individuals transferred from our custody to immigration authorities, and death in custody and arrest-related, in custody deaths or arrest-related deaths. Law enforcement personnel survey, the number of our full-time and non-sworn. We also give you a report on the civilians' complaints against peace officers and our use of force reporting. We must report shootings or use of force incidents that result in serious bodily injury or death to a civilian and or a peace officer. And then we have our RIPA reporting, our Racial Identification and Profiling Act reporting. Here are your numbers on those. As far as transfers to immigration, 0. Death in custody and arrest-related deaths, 0. Law enforcement personnel at the end of 2025, we had 19 male, 2 female. On our sworn side, and our non-sworn support staff, we had 3 male and 10 female. Civilian complaints against peace officers, there was only 2. Remember last year we had 1. There was only 2 this year, and they were neither one were sustained. 0 on racial profiling complaints. Use of force reporting, 0. We had 4 non-reportable use of force incidents, and I will highlight those two things by saying thank you to the council for giving our personnel a good contract. We put hiring strategies in place, and we screen our people. We are able to recruit good people here, do quality, thorough backgrounds, including the chief of police, to bring the most courageous, respectful, compassionate, and ethical people to the streets of Port Hueneme. When you do that and you train them well, and you have guys like Roque Lopez Sr. telling them to be respectful to everybody in the town, that's what you get. You get de-escalation techniques, and you get use of force as a last result, and you get professional, courteous officers that we're not getting complaints on. Accomplishments for 2025. We promoted one new support services manager. As I previously mentioned, he's had his first full year. And one new senior officer. We hired 4 new reserve police officers. And then 3 of 8 retired. So we're back down to 5 reserve officers. We added a second canine to the streets, and that was Gator. And again, thank you to everybody involved in that, our HOA Coalition, the community, Channel Islands Yacht Club, the Osborne Foundation. That fundraiser for the immediate brought us over $40,000. And since then, we got an additional over $20,000. That fundraiser accomplishment has brought us almost $65,000 for the K-9 unit. Absolutely incredible. Thank you. I mean, literally. Like, thank you for that. Thank you. So many people in this room are involved in that. So many people. Fatal car crashes are down for the 2nd year in a row to 0. So many cities are spending thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get to what's called Vision Zero in non-fatal crashes. And your traffic team and your patrol team has worked really hard, and I'd like to give them some credit for all the work they're doing. But there are so many cities who ask, which, you know, they don't just ask about our homeless, they're also asking about our 0 fatal crashes. And there was one earlier last year that we thought was in our city, but it wasn't. It was an Oxnard crash, but the vehicle went airborne and landed on our side of the street. But all of the activity and crash happened north of the city. We are surrounded by another city on all 3 sides. So that's something to be proud of, especially when I came back here as a chief and people were asking about, one of the priorities was traffic. And I know people sitting on this council right now could say that you've heard the same thing and that the priority was traffic. So we invested in that, and we continue to do everything we can to keep on our traffic enforcement. Which brings us to the next, our first full year of commercial enforcement. So we have, we got some grant money for that equipment, and we sent some folks to training. And for the first time in the department's history, we had commercial enforcement to deal with commercial trucks. And in doing so, your traffic enforcement team found some serious violations, and they found some minor ones, but different than most commercial enforcement teams, we'll go back to our mission and our values, and we do things respectfully and compassionately, and we want we also work on the city's enrichment. So unlike most teams, we spent about 80% of that time educating drivers and only 20% of enforcement. And in doing so, your traffic sergeant reached out to a lot of the vendors and the companies that come and go from the port to educate them on certain violations and try to get things as safely and securely as they could on our roadways. So that's been an incredible effort by your traffic team. We upgraded TASER 10, body-worn camera upgrades, and less lethal de-escalation tools. We've had our first time with having an actual drone, UAS drone technology unit. We are slowly building up to some of the best and American-made drones to utilize. Some of you have personally seen the successes of those. And we are finding suspects quickly. It's helping us look for lost people. The drones have been great. As I mentioned, we used them for fireworks. Our next step somewhere down the road would be nice to have a nested drone first responder program on the roof of our police station or another building down the road to where it can be launched from somebody's desk in the station, and I could reach Marina Village in 90 seconds, or I could reach the waters off of our coast between us and Magoo in less than 2 minutes.
What about launching our K9 like Oxnard does?
I got to talk to their chief. He forgot to say at the very end on Oxnard's post where they were using a drone to lift the canine up. You got to say Happy April Fools, everyone, because people were like seriously like, you guys can lift the dog with the drone, and I was like, thank you, Jason. I'll talk to their chief about that one later. It was funny, yes. We had finished the improvements with the station remodel after the flooding of 2023. We moved back into the regional dispatch center with new technologies. We have empowered them with some of the best technology available to them and ergonomics, and we tried to make that room the best they can for them and for our residents to have the best technology at the other end of that 911 and our radio systems. And we are still working out the bugs, but I'm very proud of the advancements we've done and all the work that Frank Montalongo did on the technology side, all the work that Commander Bob Albertson has done with not only the technologies, but our radio system and everything else that'll be coming soon. And then our facilities team, especially Peter, supervisor of our city facilities team, for all the work they did to move on that quickly at every phase that we could. We started a new school program. Last year we put together a brave new schools program, and that was done under our community resources unit led by Zach Frum, and he worked with retired Sergeant Ron Burns and Kate Devlin, one of our volunteers. For many years, she came in and tried to help handle the logistical part, the paperwork part for us. And it's be respectful and value everyone. And that program is going to hit our Hueneme schools we're hitting it this semester for a few of the classes, and then fully integrated next semester. We've already met with our school district. They like it. And then in conjunction with this, Cameo, your police commission, and I are going to be doing something we did many years ago. We're going to go back to visiting the special needs classes so we can do some engagement on the police side with our special needs classes while they're doing Brave and other classes. We attended Red Ribbon Week and Read America, like so many other people in this room. And this is the first year, like I mentioned, that we attended the California Peace Officers Memorial in Sacramento. I funded that. It was important for me to have us go. So yes, we used a police car. The officer flexed his time. I paid for the gas. I paid for the hotel. I paid for the lodgings. It was that important for me to go. I just give this stuff to my tax guy and say, figure it out. But I hope we continue this. I'll continue to fund it while I'm here, because I want to get the next wave. I think every officer in our department should be able to attend that at some point and see how moving and important it is. And pay respects to all of our fallen. We've significantly increased efforts for safety and security at both the base and port, especially this past year. We are doing some pretty powerful stuff with our base security partners, from NCIS to DOD, DOW, security police. They are very appreciative of our efforts. We did some tabletop exercises, and because of all the efforts we put in place out of a choice of a couple bases on the East Coast and the West Coast, they chose Hueneme to come out here, and we did some very impressive work with some Washington, D.C. folks on how we can help as local law enforcement, help protect our bases. And the timing couldn't be more appropriate to head into a military conflict, and we were already putting some things in place. So as one of the warfare commanders told me when I first got here as chief, and then again I was reminded on a ship tour with a couple of our council members, they said, Chief, all we need from you is protect the house when we're here, but when we're gone, please really protect the house. And so that's what we're trying to do. Some of those efforts bleed over into our port security efforts. I was asked on a couple of early meetings with the port operations folks to they gave me a mission on a couple things they wanted. No more vehicles stolen out of the port, and no more trespasses. I'm glad to say last year we had zero vehicles stolen and 0 trespasses. So things we're doing apparently are working, and we're happy to do that. And I know we had a resident talking earlier about the lithium batteries, but a little shout out to Mike Morrison on the port, their director of operations, and to our partners at County Fire. But we've actually invested in a lot of tabletop exercises led by Ventura County Fire on how to respond to these and what to put in place. So I know as much as we work on that, is there more we can do? And that's why you can sleep at night, because we stay up at night thinking, is there more we can do on the fire and PD side? And that's what we're doing. So it's a lot. It's teamwork. Public safety is teamwork, folks. We hired 6 new police explorers. Again, we'll take more. If you have teenagers you want to send to us, we'll take more. We hosted a regional police explorer academy. We hosted a police explorer Thanksgiving turkey giveaway. We hosted holiday pancakes with a Santa event. PHPD explorers competed in a national competition. We had a Sunny Horses for Kids event with the Boys and Girls Club. Wainimi Beach Festival, 5K run, the Port of Wainimi Banana Festival, backpack medicine events with our homeless. And I got to tell you, we will never not see homeless in our city, but we will do everything we can when we do see them to reach out and be compassionate. For those who are resistant on services and they are a nuisance, we will apply whatever applicable laws that we can. Autism Society, Ought to Run, participated with fellow city employees last year. We have another team starting up again for this year. It's nice when we get folks from other city departments joining us, and we go out as a City of Port Wainimi team. Special Olympics torch run participation, and we did a Tip-A-Cop event with our partners over at the Oxnard Police Department at Lazy Dog. And we hosted another National Night Out event. Again, we hadn't had one in a while. We brought that back a couple years ago. And then our social media continues to grow again every year, over about 10% with followers. And that's both our Facebook and our Instagram. Grants. The grants that we tapped into this year and spent were our Justice Assistance Grant, our JAG grant, over almost $9,000 have replenished back into our overtime from efforts that we spent. And again, some of that was even used. We were able to incorporate some of our fireworks enforcement on that. Organized retail theft is our largest, with them funding $404,000 back into our budget from our money spent on organized retail theft. The cannabis Prop 64 Cohort 3 grants, they've provided $123,000 to us and a couple of $100,000 over to the Boys and Girls Club. Officer Wellness and Mental Health Grant, we exhausted the last of the $20,000. I really hope if the state decides to introduce another officer wellness that all the cities get money again, because it's real easy to go through $20,000 on wellness and sending people to training and conferences and building out our gym. We'll be utilizing $157,000 in a state tobacco enforcement grant. And anytime we go out on missions like this and do tobacco grant, folks, it may seem like, are we just doing tobacco enforcement that night for that team that's coming in on overtime? Except that puts more officers in your city. And when we travel to locations in a conga line of police cars, that's part of prevention and presence. So we plan to use, we'll have that out on some weekend nights as well. And so last year we had total grant funds of over $535,000. Bob, that's probably the largest in many years, just on employees and overtime, not so much equipment, and where we've gotten other grants before, but that's one of the most significant years that we can think of in recent history. We're trying, folks. There's grants. And a shout out to the incredible team you have here. None of them are professional grant writers, but we've all written these ourselves. Your staff's writing them. You have police officers sitting down at a desk trying to figure out grants. Bob's a master of almost everything behind the computer for us, so if we're stuck, he can guide us, but your personnel, your staff is doing their darndest without a grant writer to accomplish this. Of our community engagement, again, can't say it enough, always hiring explorers. Your homelessness, again, homelessness is not a police problem. Homelessness is a societal problem that is inherited by the front line, government line, which is your police department. So if you recall, we put our efforts in place, which was to do a lot of compassionate outreach, but then, like I said, majority of the homeless population is service resistant. So what did we do? We invested in doing some strategic enforcement on that which is a crime. And we definitely targeted certain areas that we were getting large calls. If you recall, when I first got here in 2023, that map looked, that heat map where homeless calls were coming from was much different. This was the one from the end of last year that Zach had put together, and we had much more significant calls at the beach, Surfside Motel, and the areas off of Wainimi Road from Market over to Ventura Road, the beach port, the Plaza, Anakepa Coffee, all Anacappuccino Coffee House, all those. There was so much effort put into that, and then at about the same time, Grocery Outlet opened, so some moved there, and then we were moving up towards KFC, and then at the same time dealing with the Ralph Shopping Center. So the good news is the county wasn't surprised, and they told us we wouldn't be surprised if we reduced our numbers once again this year, and that was because we cut it in half in the homeless count last year, in 2024, and then in this year, once again, it was cut in half. We were down to 13 documented residential, meaning the same people showing up in the city. We housed one person in 2025, so that gives us 6 housed since 2021, and when you have the majority of the population that is service resistant, the good thing is 6, with one of them being sent out of state, has been successful for us. We will never not see the homeless. Out of respect for the U.S. Constitution, people want to be homeless, they can, but they have to follow the rules just like everybody else. And so that's where we will do our best to help them and do our compassionate and respectful outreach. But then when we have to take enforcement, we will. I added this year. We lost not 1, but 2 past chiefs last year. Chief Bob Anderson, who was chief when I first got here. Chief Bob Anderson served from 77 as an interim chief, and then 74 as a full-time chief to 1993, and then 1993, John Hopkins had taken over. But prior to Bob Anderson was Chief John Smith. And Chief John Smith was the lieutenant under Al Gelati, probably will be one of the most popular sheriffs in this county, and was an incredibly popular police chief here from 61 to 74. And John Smith took over after he did. John Smith was also one of the people behind the design of the room you're sitting in and the police station and City Hall. So John Smith was very critical in things he did here as he made his way up the ranks to lieutenant. He was lieutenant, admin lieutenant, when this building was being built. And then after being chief here for a few years, he went on to be chief in 2 other cities in Northern California, and a well-respected technology master working for DA's offices up north. Bob Anderson was one of the original homeowners over there in Surfside Village there, and he lived here for a few years into retirement, and they moved out of state. But I will tell you this, I've had great conversations with those gentlemen after I came back as chief. They were very proud that somebody came back home and that I came back home. But in my conversations with John Smith, I will tell you his design of the building. We all love to hear Al Gelati stories from being chief, and he said the one thing Al Gelati told him when he was designing the offices over at the police department, he said, I don't care how you line up the offices, I just want a bathroom in my office. And I have to say, I thanked former Lieutenant then Chief John Smith and Al Gelati for that bathroom, because in life, you know you didn't make it just because you got your own office. You know you made it in life because you got your own office with your own bathroom. So for me, I appreciate Chief Smith and Al Gelati for that. Okay, before we get into questions, I do just want to say, folks, I've now been back here for 2.5 years plus as your chief. What we've accomplished in this department, in this city, is incredible. I know when I started and I gave the outline of the vision, I was told that it sounded ambitious, but look what we've accomplished. And we're currently doing more with less. And we are working all the time for new technologies and improvement, and how can we better do this? We could not do it without the incredible community support that we have. We brought back not just one motor officer, but 2. First time ever. Created a first-time traffic unit in this police department, full traffic unit. We brought parking back over and changed the way they did stuff, bringing it back to the police department. These things don't just happen. 0 fatal crashes don't just happen. It's the team that's out there working for you. We brought back canines strategically. First, I had a couple of gun homicides. I said, we need a gun dog. Then we watched as the fentanyl and meth epidemic got crazy, and County Human Services came into this room and told us, what are you doing about your overdose deaths? It's higher in your city than others. So we get Gator out here, and he's making an impact, and we hope and I pray, I think we will all pray, that his efforts, the efforts of your patrol officers, even when he's not here, that we continue to go after this scourge, this epidemic, and we see better numbers in the future for our community. Even during the time of bringing Gator on board last year, we had a public view death out on the beach. And of course, as soon as that came back from the medical examiner, that was a drug overdose. How do we combat this? We have community support seeing this, saying, what resources do you need? And they stepped up and got us a dog. We brought back a formal juvenile diversion for the first time in the department's history. And the key thing about that, folks, shout out to City Impact, Inc. Nonprofit, has some incredible people. Some of them were in their own, having problems in their own lives. They're now part of that staff. Our juvenile diversion program doesn't cost us very much at all. Why? Because we had JAG money for anything we needed to spend on officer time for it, JAG grant money. But the City Impact team, City Impact, Inc., and they have their fundraiser marathon coming up in May, their beachfront in Ventura. But City Impact has been able to take the kids that we put into the program and through county probation, and they are doing incredible work, and it's not costing us anything as a city. I was involved in a previous juvenile diversion program, and it was very successful, but it was very expensive. So anybody who steps up and takes on those roles and helps out cities, I appreciate them, and they deserve the shout out. And again, it's our first time in the department. We have a drone unit, and we have new advancements in our city camera system. Thanks to facilities and Frank Montalongo, we have our first ever true all-encompassing employee wellness campaign, 24/7 mental health support for our personnel. And we, as Roque Sr. said, it's how we guide our folks. We guide it with wellness in mind. And we've put formalized succession planning in place for our new sergeants and seniors. Every senior officer I've promoted in the last couple of years have all had a shot at being an acting sergeant. You saw that one of the first pictures of personnel in there was Senior Officer Gladys Harbin. She got a full year of working in role of acting sergeant. And then, proud to say, and we've also had a lot of babies in the department in the last couple of years. And I'm proud to say Gladys is off work getting her rest because she just had her first child. So she's an incredible team leader, and her and her husband Matt just had their first child, and we're excited for her when she comes back. But she had a good, when I talk about succession planning and putting people in leadership roles. For her to handle that year and then go into this new exciting role in her life, that's the kind of stuff we're doing, and we're totally supportive of her in her current family endeavor.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Questions, can we have just some basic questions about the presentation? We are still in the beginning of our agenda, so we don't want to spend a whole lot of time here. So any questions, Councilmember Lopez?
Questions. Chief, thank you. Thank you for your annual report and from leading from the front. Very, very appreciative.
Councilmember Lopez, sorry, can I just have you? Yeah.
Yes, sorry about that. So, Chief, what do you think is one of our biggest challenges for from now to the end of 2026?
We're doing more with less. Like I just said, we have somebody out on maternity leave. We're currently hiring. I'm happy to say we have a really good lateral hire coming shortly. People are interested in working here who are working elsewhere. So we have one coming. Thanks to our HR team and to our in-house HR team of Commander Albertson, Bob is very diligent on handling our HR stuff in a timely manner. So he's already working on the next wave. So it's getting that personnel in that we can to fill our staffs and balance it with the positions that we try to freeze or hold to help balance city budget. We can do it, and we're doing it, but to get those next couple bodies in is going to be huge.
Got it. And then
Okay, let me just say, questions and shorter answers.
Sorry. Yes, working on
Please,
that.
thank you.
I'm known for that. My apologies.
So with
Yacht Club.
onboarding of Gator and using NIBS, did we see a spike in drug-related arrests?
We got him at the end of last year, and then he had training. So ask me that in 2026. Does that make sense? Like, so this is 2025 year, and he's only been on the streets now for a few months in 2026. So.
Okay, last question is, lastly, please, if you have stuff that needs to be funded for the council and staff, you shouldn't have to spend your own money. Please bring it to the council.
Happy to do it. Not a wealthy man, but a generous man. Happy to do it.
Go ahead. You have anything? You have anything?
Just want to thank you for the report, and I really appreciate the fact that the police are in the mind of wellness. And I'll never forget, you said you came, there was a murder, and you stated that you don't need to see those crime scenes ever again. And I think that stuck with me, that, you know, making sure your officers are wellness orientated, taking care of themselves. I think that's super important. I really appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Great, thank you. Did you have?
No, thank you, Chief, for your presentation.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Chief, for your presentation, and we're gonna, oh, did you? You didn't have anything, okay. Thank you,
All right,
Chief, we
thank you,
appreciate you.
folks.
Okay, we're gonna move on in our agenda, so we're gonna recess from the city council meeting and call to order the Port Hueneme Housing regular meeting. The time is now 8:09. I don't see her. I'll let her
Not
call
necessary.
roll. Yeah, she's not on the.
Okay.
Go right ahead, call.
Member Gama?
Here.
Member Lopez?
Here.
Member Perez?
Here.
Vice Chair Hernandez?
Here.
And Chair McQueen-LeJean?
Here.
Let the record reflect that Member Brown is absent.
Okay, great, thank you. We'll now hear public comments not related to the agendized items. Are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Great, so we'll move to the consent calendar, but before we do that, do we have any public comments related to any of the consent calendar items?
None for the Housing Authority.
Great, thank you. Okay. So let's go on to the approval. Hold on just a minute. We have the consent calendar. Is there a motion, or is there anyone like to pull any items? If no items to be pulled, is there a motion and a second to approve items, consent calendar items 1
I
through
move
3?
approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously.
Okay, are there any Housing Authority member reports or comments? If not, we're going to adjourn the Port Hueneme Housing Authority regular meeting and reconvene the City Council regular meeting. The time is now 8:10. So we'll move to the consent calendar for the City Council. Do we have any items need to be pulled from the consent calendar? If not, are there any public comments?
No public comments for consent.
Okay, great. Okay, is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar for the City Council meeting?
Move to approve. Second.
Great. Madam Clerk, can we take roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously.
Great. With that, we're going to move to our public hearing items, item number 9. So, Madam Clerk, do we have proof of publication as required by law and a complete file of reports and exhibits?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you. Will staff please present the report?
Yeah, and I'll just start with a quick introduction that tonight you may know that we have 3 public hearings and then 1 business item related to upcoming summer events. And I think there's a little bit of a theme that with the summer getting close and getting ready to plan for all of our summer events, we're bringing forward some permits for summer events, and then the Sister City Committee request for their upcoming event. And so we'll be going through the permits for each of those items over the next 3 public hearing items. So with that, I'm going to introduce our planner, Jose Coyote, to do or to walk us through the permit for the first event, which is the 2026 Bike MS Coastal Challenge.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, everyone joining us tonight. I know that you want us to speed this up, so let's get started. This is one of 3 series, just like City Manager Vega mentioned. So this is National Multiple Sclerosis MS Society 2026 Bike MS Coastal Challenge, Special Use Permit PHSU 26-6. So the request is to hold an event formerly known as 2026 Bike MS Coastal Challenge. This is featuring a cycling event that will travel through the city with a designated rest stop at Hueneme Beach Park on May 30th, 2026 from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. with approximately 300 participants. The rest stop will take place at Hueneme Beach Park in Lot A and will feature a first aid, food, hydration, restroom, and volunteer parking area. It's important to note that this is a new location. This previous request had been reviewed by staff through a special use permit staff level, and it used to operate at Bolker Park. To date, there has been no incidents reported or any complaints, so they're a good operator. And so this would be a new location to support the city's goals to increase visitor and events at the beach. It's also important to note that this is a non-competitive cycling event that will take place throughout the city with no road closures, and it's supported by safety personnel and temporary route signage. General information, this is brought forward to you based on Port Hueneme Municipal Code Section 10355 due to the event taking place at Hueneme Beach Park and due to the scale of the event. Further, this is categorically exempt under CEQA as it is a temporary use of public streets and beach facilities for a community event. All rest stop features, including signage, supportive equipment, are temporary and will be removed after the event. Here, you'll see the rest stop plan in parking lot A. As can be seen, most of the area will be utilized by the existing footprint there, with circulation not really being impacted. The majority of the event will take place on the eastern portion of Lot E, just slightly north of where the pier ends, and it'll feature, like I previously mentioned, a first aid tent, a food and hydration station, ice, portable restrooms, and also serve as the volunteer parking area. The fiscal impact, this is a nonprofit applicant, so they're requesting a waiver of 14 parking spaces at Hueneme Beach Park. You'll see that there is underlining under 14. The staff report had mentioned 4, but in order to capture everything that you saw on the previous slide with the site plan, it is actually the full driving aisle, which is 14 parking spaces. So that means that also the application before tonight's consideration is also being asked to be waived, and that's in the amount of $2,041.76. Mailers and posters are estimated at $475, with that 14 spaces making up $112. The total being asked to be waived tonight is $2,628 with 76 cents. And as mentioned, limited parking and application revenues will not be collected by the city due to this request. Further, this supports General Plan 2045 Economic Development 4 goal by leveraging the city's coastal location to increase tourism and economic benefit. Strategic plan consistency, it touches on two. One, optimal levels of service for residents and businesses to support and establish programs and events that create a strong sense of community pride and a connection to our history and our heritage, and also for safe, secure, and beautiful community, upgrade our beach, park, city-owned facilities and structures to provide a better experience for our residents, employees, commuters, and visitors. It is therefore recommended that the City Council adopt a resolution that conditionally approves special use permit number PHSU-26-6 and to find the project to be categorically exempt from CEQA. I am available for further questions, but before we go there, JJ Hoffman, Assistant Director with MS, is here to say a couple of things, and I believe she has a formal presentation.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and members of Port Hueneme community. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here tonight. Bike MS is the largest charitable cycling event series in the United States, and for more than 40 years, it has brought cyclists together in communities across the country in pursuit of one powerful goal: ending multiple sclerosis. Behind every Bike MS rider is a deeply personal reason for being on the road: a spouse, a parent, a friend, sometimes their own diagnosis. Collectively, these events have raised well over $1 billion nationwide, funding research and support services that have fundamentally changed what it means to live with MS. For more than 75 years, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society has been a leader in advancing medical progress and improving quality of life for people living with MS. The Society is the world's largest private funder of MS research, investing more than $1 billion to date. And also, because of this sustained commitment, nearly every FDA-approved disease-modifying therapy available today can trace its roots back to society-funded research. What was once a devastating and untreatable diagnosis is now a condition that can often be managed with disease progression slowed and quality of life preserved. Beyond research, the Society provides education, one-on-one navigation, and critical emotional and community support for the hundreds of thousands of individuals and families affected by MS each year. Despite this progress, MS remains a chronic, unpredictable, and lifelong disease, and the needs are significant. Many people living with MS face staggering medical costs, with medications that can reach tens of thousands of dollars per year. Others experience interruptions to their careers, require workplace accommodations, or face disability earlier than expected. Symptoms such as fatigue, mobility, workplace accommodations. Families often shoulder not only the emotional impact, but also the long-term financial burden of care. Continued investment is essential to fund cutting-edge research, improve access to care, improve access to care, expand support services, and advance health equity so that people affected by MS can live full, productive lives while we work toward a cure. Here in Southern California, we are proudly going to celebrate our 25th anniversary of this particular Bike MS event. And over the years, the ride has evolved, beginning at Palm Springs back in 25 years ago. We had many memorable years here in Ventura. In 2022, we returned to a Santa Monica to Ventura route, and last year adapted once again, shifting to a Ventura start and finish in response to the devastating fires in Pacific Palisades. Each evolution reflects our partnership with local communities and a shared commitment to resilience and collaboration. This year's Coastal Challenge is designed to showcase the very best of our Southern California coastline. On Saturday, May 30th, roughly 300 to 400 cyclists will participate. Every participant will pass through your park twice that day, making Port Hueneme a true highlight and a signature experience within the event. Cyclists travel to this ride from across Southern California and from all around the country. One participant loved this region so much after experiencing the ride that he ultimately purchased a second home here. These are visitors who stay in hotels, eat in local restaurants, shop locally, and return again after the ride weekend, bringing lasting economic benefit to the community. Bike MS also contributes to healthier and safer communities. Cycling events promote active lifestyles, increase awareness of cyclists on the road, and help foster a culture of shared streets. These events encourage wellness, connection, and civic pride while inspiring residents of all ages to engage in healthier ways of living. Your support allows us to direct more resources towards our mission, accelerating MS research and providing vital services for people and families living with this disease. We have been producing Bike MS events for decades, and our experienced professional team takes the utmost care of every facility we use, leaving each site as we found it. We are truly excited and deeply grateful for the opportunity to utilize such a beautiful landmark and to bring so many participants, families, and supporters to experience and enjoy Port Hueneme Beach Park. So thank you so much for your partnership, your trust, and your support. Together, we're strengthening this community while moving closer to a world free of multiple sclerosis. Thank you.
Great. With that said, are there any questions? Any questions? Questions? Any questions? Okay. If there are no questions, we are going to open the public hearing and take public comments. The time is now 8:22. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay. Well, we'll conclude the public comment portion of the hearing, and it's now 8:22. So we have before us the recommendation to adopt the resolution continually approving special use permit number PHSU 26-6, and waiving fees related to the permit, determine that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA, and take such additional related action as may be deemed appropriate. May I have a motion and a second?
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, please take roll.
Okay. Councilmember Gama,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Perez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez.
Yes.
And Mayor McQueen-Lejeune.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you for your report.
Just want to say a family member recently was diagnosed, and you know, the support that's out there has been great, and it's scary, and I really appreciate the fact that you're bringing this to our city. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
You can go ahead and hand it to her, right to her. Great, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to move to item number 10, adopt a resolution granting the five-year special use permit authorizing the city of Port Hueneme to host the Hueneme Beach Festival, including ancillary live entertainment, stage, food, vendors, and so on. Madam Clerk, do you have proof of the publication as required by law and a complete file of reports and exhibits?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you. Will staff please present the report?
All right, so we're moving on to item number 2 here for special use permits. Once again, this is a city-sponsored event by the City of Port Hueneme and Port Hueneme Police Explorers, known as Hueneme Beach Festival 2026 to 2030, special use permit PHSU 26-4. The request is by City Council direction to continue to have a Hueneme Beach Festival, which will continue as a public event featuring live entertainment, food and vendor booths, arts and crafts, a carnival, and alcohol booths. The festival is proposed to occur annually on the second weekend in July, Saturday and Sunday, for 5 years, beginning this year in 2026, with hours from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. In this year, 2026 cycle, the event will take place on July 11th through 12th with an approximate 15,000 patrons per day count. General information, as previously noted, the Municipal Code, Section 10355, requires that this be brought forward to council since it is being hosted at Wainimi Beach Park and there will be the closure of Public Street Ocean View Drive. This project is to be found to be categorically exempt as it is a temporary community event at an existing public facility with no permanent changes or expansions of use. The festival layout will be similar to last year's, where Ocean View Drive will be used as the main entrance and walkway and feature the first 8 information and food general retail stalls. Parking lot B will be used to host the live entertainment as the main stage, food court area, and feature 2 alcohol serving areas. The East Ocean View Drive and Parking Lot C will feature a carnival area, food vendors, arts and crafts, and an additional alcohol serving area. Wainimi Beach will host the Copacabana Beach Soccer Tournament. If the festival occurs the same weekend, both events will take place concurrently without conflict. Surfside Drive will remain unchanged and open to the public. Here's the site plan, basically the same as last year's, with Copacabana also taking place at the same time. There was no known issues of both events happening at the same time. And as can be seen, the major sort of areas are going to be Lot B is having that main stage orient southward to minimize noise, and then also to make use of all the food court areas so people can dine out and enjoy an alfresco main stage performance. And then at the end, Hammerhead, towards the end of Parking Lot C, you'll notice that it's still the carnival area. Festival entertainment, live performances will orient south, and amplified sound will cease by 8 p.m. each day. Youth and Community Showcase, the 2026 festival will feature Wainimi High School Band on Saturday, July 11th. Similar youth-focused performances are expected throughout the permit cycle. Additional performers, full lineup of performers and headline acts is being finalized and expected to remain of similar scale as previous years. For further information, please go ahead and log on to wainimibeachfestival.org as information becomes available. Speaking a little bit more towards the beach soccer tournament, that will run concurrent on one day, and that'll be the all-day beach soccer tournament on Saturday, July 11th, organized by Beach Soccer Promotions LLC with free admission. This event it was approved by City Council under Special Use Permit 2-23 on April 3rd, 2023 as part of a 5-year summer soccer series at Wainimi Beach Park. The tournament setup will include 10 temporary soccer fields with up to 150 youth players. Total attendance expected to reach 400 persons, and there is 10 adult staff for hospitality and security to help out and run the event. Here is a closer look at that Copacabana Soccer Beach Festival. It happens just at the end of South Ventura Road and Surfside Drive, so it'll be completely on the opposite end of the pier. Security and parking, like last year, the entire festival area will be enclosed with a temporary fence. A private security company will be provided for the security of the event, and a total of 8 uniformed guards will be stationed in and around the site. All guests will be screened by security before entering the festival area. Port Wainimi police staff will monitor the gate and screening areas as needed. As far as parking, to minimize issues, we are requesting again for free parking to be available in lots A, Surfside Drive, Ventura Road, and Market Street. For beach soccer, free will only be free during Wainimi Beach Festival weekends. All other weekends that the soccer beach tournaments are happening will be subject to the regular fees. Vendors will be parking in lot E. Accessible parking will be available in lot A, and Surfside Drive will remain open to help with parking and circulation. Once again, the Festival Youth Poster Contest is back, and it's currently open and accepting applications online through May 15, 2026 at 5. The theme this year is Summer Through My Eyes, with the prizes being $300 per winner, sponsored by Lujan Transportation. There will be a total of 4 winners, 2 from elementary school winners in upper and lower division, 1 for a junior high, and 1 for high school. Fiscal impact, the city festival cost for 2025, there was $35,000 in seed funding for the event. The Beer Garden Police explores to coordinate and manage alcohol sales with volunteers over 21 years old. Police Explorers to collect revenue from alcohol sales instead of receiving the $25,000 donation from the city as previous. Reasons for this change: staff determined that city should not be involved in alcohol sales, and further, allowing the Alcohol Explorers to manage alcohol sales ensures proper coordination and helps offset the city's previous expenditure. So because of this, again, there won't be any parking revenues being collected for lots A, B, C, E, and along Surfside and Ocean View drives. Police maintenance and other service costs will be covered by pre-budgeted staff time with no additional expense to the city. The festival is expected to achieve similar results as 2025, with cost offset by sponsorships, donations, vendor fees, and beverage sales. Because sponsorship revenues can vary year to year, staff will update the council if specific changes require event modifications. And to help reduce on budgetary restrictions for staff time, we're proposing a 5-year permit to help reduce that additional permitting cost. As you saw in the last presentation, it's short of $3,000 every time that we have an event come before the council. Strategic plan consistencies. This narrows in on 3: optimal levels of service for residents and businesses to support and establish programs and events that create a strong sense of community pride and a connection to our history and our heritage. Innovation and opportunity, retain and maximize opportunities for local businesses as the backbone of the community. Safe, secure, and beautiful community, upgrade our beach, park, city-owned facilities and structures to provide a better experience for our residents, employees, commuters, and visitors. It is therefore recommended that the City Council adopt the resolution that conditionally approves special use permit PHSU 26-4 and to find the project to be categorically exempt from CEQA. Staff is available for any additional comments.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions? We're only going to take questions at this time. No, go right ahead.
Thank you for your presentation. I had a question about the organizing committee. Who is the organizing committee? Who's the lead of that organizing committee?
The lead of the committee is Frank Montalongo because he has a role with both the Explorers and the city. Then the committee includes some representatives from different departments, including police department, finance, and city manager's office.
And we're tracking their costs in
yes,
that we're incurring and their planning. Yep. Okay. And then can you refresh my memory how the alcohol sales were handled last year?
Yes, and Jose's handling the permit.
I understand,
but
this is,
yeah, I'm the person sort of answering how the event will be operated. So how we did it was council, as part of that effort to try to actually balance the budget without having the entrance fee or having to charge for parking. We had done that effort to really reduce costs and balance out the budget over the year. What was your question again?
My question is
alcohol. Okay.
How are the alcohol sales going to be managed? We're not
Okay.
actually having Explorers selling alcohol, are we?
No,
Or is it- okay.
no. So last year, if you recall, or as part of that effort, we had initially said we were going to do a $35,000 donation, or $35,000 of seed funding, and then a $25,000 donation to the Explorers, and that was going to be the cost to the city of the event overall. But as we mentioned, it turns out that cities shouldn't be involved in alcohol sales, so we ended up coming to a win-win of allowing the Explorers to operate it. And they it's not the Explorers as in the youth, it's the Explorers seek volunteers who operate it, adult volunteers who operate it, knowing that the revenues go to the Explorers. And but it's basically the Explorers as an organization who get the permit and then purchase the alcohol and then keep the revenues from it. So in the past couple years, it's worked out where there's the Explorers are able to get a lot of volunteers to run the event, and then sometimes we'll partner with other nonprofits as well if they need those extra hands. I think this year they are figuring out if how much they'll be able to do themselves or how much they'll be able to partner with others, but. It's adult volunteers on behalf of the Explorers, not 14-year-old police Explorers.
I didn't think so.
I'll assure everybody of
it
that.
worked fine last year. I
Yeah.
just couldn't remember how that was structured.
Yep.
And will we be hearing additional reports leading up to the Beach Festival in July?
So we're planning to bring some things forward, things like announcing some of the final details in the art contest and some of those different things too. So we'll be bringing those forward. It is somehow only, 3 months, I think, probably from around 3 months from now that the event occurs. So I think we mentioned early on that generally the event's really going to follow the path of last year's. I think we thought that was pretty successful, but we'll bring a couple of the changes to the council, including one of them that I had meant to include was we're going to propose moving the council member participation to right before the headlining act of the concert. So mark your calendar, because we wanted to have the council be able to participate when more of the crowd had gotten in, because we were pretty early before. But we'll be bringing those items back and informing the council.
Very good, thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah, I just have one question. For the seed money, does the city, at the end of all the reconciliation, is that $35,000 is what the city doesn't get anything back?
I mean, potentially we could, but it's been pretty spot on.
Okay.
It's worked well where we've been able to really get very close to what we thought on revenues and close to what we thought on expenditures, and so we ended up just sort of with that 35,000 in. I do want to say it was either last year or the year prior, it actually generated some revenue, so potentially we may be able to apply that and actually reduce that seed funding this year, and that could happen too. But I will caution, I know our team's stressing about the fact that sponsorships are very slow this year, just with everything going on in the world. So actually, when we wrote this report, we were really worried about sponsorships, and then sometimes people just get back to you later. So in the last 2 weeks, we've actually gotten some good responses. So now we're not feeling as worried about it. But I always say we're doing our best to try to reduce costs so that we can make sure we're balanced. But there may be a year where if the economy really does something weird, where we end up having to talk about, if we're going to fund it at a new level, or if we make reductions. Because there's also things like in the future we could talk about, are there things we'd want to get rid of to balance it? But the last 2 years have been pretty spot on, and we actually came out ahead one of those 2 years. And this year it looks like we're hoping that we're on that same path. It seems like we're on that same path.
Right,
So.
yeah, and so this just popped in my head. I would imagine, so we have a area where we have rides and stuff for the kids, right?
Yep.
Those are generally gas operated and not?
Yeah, potential. Some of the vendors have, gas operated.
Yeah, so I would just say that would be probably a concern, because you would imagine now tickets for the rides will probably increase and things like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're starting to see that just as a city, without getting too deep into it, but things that we've always been pretty good at estimating costs, and all of a sudden we're having to add some percentage to that. So we may see that this year. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Great. The public hearing is now open for public input. The time is now 8:38. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
Great, thank you. So we'll conclude the public comment area, and we will now close the public hearing. It is still 8:38. And we have before us the recommendation to adopt the resolution continually approving special use permit number PHSU 26-4, determine that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA and take such additional related action as may be deemed appropriate. May I have a motion and a second?
Move to approve?
Second.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please take roll.
Okay. Councilmember Gama?
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez?
Yes.
Councilmember Perez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez?
Yes.
And Mayor McQueen-Lejeune?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. We'll move to our final.
Mayor, can we take a break?
Oh,
5 minutes?
sure. Is everybody okay with a break?
Yes.
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good thing these are nice seats. I forgot to ask something about contracts.
public hearing item number 11. And it's to adopt a resolution granting special use permit number PHSU 26-5 for the City of Port Huenemy's 2026 through 2030 Movies in the Park, and determine that the event is exempt from CEQA. Madam Clerk, do we have proof of publications as required by law and a complete file of reports and exhibits?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you. Will staff please present the report?
Hi there again. I'm joined by Taylor Penny with the Recreations Division. And so before you tonight is the Port Hueneme Recreation and Community Service Division event known as 2026 to 2030 Movies in the Park, Special Use Permit PHSU 26-5. The request is to hold the event known as 2026-2030 Movies in the Park, featuring a city-sponsored Movies in the Park screening series with approximately 500 to 1,200 participants at Hueneme Beach Park. The request is for a 5-year SUP commencing this year in 2026 to 2030 for monthly movie nights happening between June and September. The 2026 tentative dates are June 27th, July 25th, August 15th, September 19th. Showtimes begin around 8:15, 8:30, and end by 10 p.m. The event area will include a portable screen, a speaker system, an ADA accessible mat, and a refreshment station offering popcorn and soft drinks. Once again, this is being brought forward to the City Council because of Hueneme Municipal Code Section 10355 due to the event happening at Hueneme Beach Park and the scale of the event. Further, the event is categorically exempt from CEQA as it is a temporary event happening in existing public beach facilities with no permanent site alterations. All event features are temporary and will be removed at the end of each event. As with previous years, this is the proposed site plan. Free parking is to be located in parking lots A, B, C, and along Ocean View Drive. With the movie screen being in the sandy beach, and along with taking a little bit of a western area there for the concession stand. This is past photos of what the event looked like. As you can see, people just pull up. There's that inflatable screen, and then staff is giving away popcorn and soft drinks. Fiscal impact, this is a city-sponsored event. Staff, once again, is proposing a 5-year permit to help reduce the use of staff time and permitting costs associated with each event. And beach parking revenues will not be collected for beach parking lots A, B, C, and along Ocean View Drive. Strategic plan consistency, this is with 2 optimal levels of service for residents and businesses to support and establish programs and events that create a strong sense of community pride and a connection to our history and our heritage, and safe, secure, and beautiful community. Upgrade our beaches, parks, city-owned facilities, and structures to provide a better experience for our residents, employees, commuters, and visitors. It is therefore recommended that the City Council adopt a resolution that conditionally approves special use permit PHSU-26-5 and to find the project to be categorically exempt from CEQA. Staff is available for further questions.
Any questions? No questions? Okay. Madam Clerk, the public hearing is now open. It's 8:48. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay, so that concludes our public comment period. So the public hearing is now closed. It's still 8:48. So we have before us the recommendation to adopt a resolution continually approving special use permit number PHSU 26-5, Movies in the Park, determine that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA, and take such additional related actions as may be deemed appropriate. May I have a motion and a second?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? I did want to ask one question that I missed. So this request is for Hueneme Beach Park, and it's through 2030. Are they all going to be at Hueneme Beach Park?
Typically, we do about 2 or 3 at the beach, and so just to, we can do our best to plan 5 years out, just to kind of give us a little bit of grace and if we continue to grow more movies that we can show longer through the summer. So this was just to give us a window from June through September would be the potential months that we'll show movies at the beach. We still will do the movies at the other parks in the city as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And just if I can add, so the reason the beach ones have to come to the council is because of the additional requirements in the code that require additional permitting for the
Oh,
beach.
okay,
So,
got it.
so it's not that the other ones wouldn't happen, they just aren't required to be part of the permit.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, can we have a vote, please?
Councilmember Gama,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Perez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez, and Mayor McQueen LeJean.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you so much for your report. So we're going to move to business item number 12, a sister city committee request to waive fees associated with the use of community center for fundraiser.
Yes, thank you.
Manager?
Yes. So you may recall, I think it was 2 meetings ago, the Sister City Committee spoke and talked about some of their recent efforts and had asked the council for an opportunity to present and provide some information on those efforts, and also to make a request regarding the use of the community center and a fee waiver for the upcoming fundraiser. So this item is intended to allow sister cities to do the presentation. I'll just note as some background for the maybe more for the public, is that the Sister City Committee was initially created with the city of Port Hueneme and was recently incorporated as its own separate nonprofit, a 501c3. And so there is some history of the city supporting Sister Cities Committee and actually helping launch some of these activities. But as we said at the time when the nonprofit was split, we said that in the future that Sister City could come back to the council and make requests for the council to consider. So with that, I'll introduce Bobby Martinez from the Sister City Committee to talk a little bit more about that.
Good evening, Mayor McQueen LeJean, Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez, City Council, City staff, and members of the public. My name is Bobby Martinez, and I'm here representing the Hueneme Sister City Committee as the the communications director, also known as the secretary. I hope you guys like our new logo.
I love it.
Yeah, it looks nice and clean and fresh. I might want to mention that the reason we chose the name Hueneme Sister Cities Committee and not the typical name that other committees choose, where they choose both names of the cities, is because we learned from the mistakes of other sister cities where Santa Barbara had 8 different sister city committees. So instead, this opens it up for us to have more partnerships with other cities without having to start a new nonprofit and a new board. So I thought that was a really good idea. I'm sure you all know that our sister city is Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and we were just down there about a month ago. So it was probably the best time to visit Puerto Vallarta, even though there was things that were happening. We left like right before all the bad things that happened, but it cleared up within a week, just so you all know. In terms of the weather, anytime between December and February is the best time to visit. And just for reference, this is a map of Mexico, and so you can get an idea of where Puerto Vallarta is located. It's about 1,400 miles away from us. It's a short 3-hour flight. And I want to start by talking about last year's visit. And the sister city from Puerto Vallarta took us to a rural school in Mexico, right outside of Puerto Vallarta. And the city was called Ranchito. Ranchito means little ranch. So they actually didn't officially have a name. Everybody just started calling it Ranchito so I thought it was a really, really small city. And so we met some of the students, and the point of the visit was to see the need that some of their local schools needed. And so we pledged to provide some school materials to the students, such as like color pencils and markers and paper. But going back to last year's event, the Tacos, Music, and Games fundraiser, which I think all of you attended, and I just want to say thank you for being there and participating. We did have mariachi, folklorico, and so we were displaying some of the local youth. And this year we want to do the same by bringing some of the older local youth, specifically Hueneme High School. So we plan on bringing not just their mariachi, but their folclorico program that's just started. So right now we're helping them fundraise for their dresses. And I also want to thank the Lions Club and Reach for donating. But that allowed for us to do the multicultural exchange program via, it was actually Google Meet, but I think it looked better if I wrote Zoom. But so it was a Google Meet. And so Ozzy from the Boys and Girls Club and myself led this exchange. And so we had students from here, from Port Hueneme, and students from Puerto Vallarta get to know each other. And one of the interesting things is I think students in the beginning were really timid, but they grew a lot within the meetings, and they wanted to continue to meet. And we had to say, hey, well, our plan was set to meet this many times, but maybe we can do this again next year. And you don't really have like a sense of like what the kids, how they really are through the computer until you actually meet them. And then you see, because when we went to go visit Puerto Vallarta last year, we did meet with teachers, and we asked that if they can get us in touch with students that had some sort of disabilities. So some of the students from Mexico, we knew about their disabilities, but I think through the Zooms, we kind of forgot about them. And then they became apparent when we met them again, like in person. It's like, oh, wow, we didn't realize that they were like that they did have autism and that they were extremely shy. But I think you might be able to notice it in some of the pictures. We first started by giving the certificate of completion and the gift card to the students here in Port Hueneme. And so we went out to a local spot to not just give them the certificate and their gift card, but we also got them some ice cream. And they were really happy. I think they were a little bit timid because there was other people there that they didn't recognize because we had some of our other committee members. But it was a great experience, and they were all really happy to get their money. So I don't think it was a ton of money, but they got $125, I think it was, a gift card. And some of them spent it like really quick.
Of course.
I guess Robux are very popular right now. And so then we went to Puerto Vallarta to do the same. And so Mateo's to the left, he's actually visually impaired. And then Franco on the right was extremely shy. We were able to tell just by the way that he shook your hand, and you can tell that he was he had a little bit of let's just say he had some autism. And then we remembered when we were looking through our files and their applications that was true and that was apparent. But we just kind of forgot about it through the Zooms. We had more students that started the program, but through the program, not everybody completed all the Zooms, and then not everybody completed the assignments. And so the assignment was to either do a video, a PowerPoint slide, or write an essay about their experience. So I don't know why not everybody completed it. I thought it was really simple, but we had 3 students from Vallarta complete it, and we had 3 students from Hueneme complete it. So I think that was still something that we can celebrate and hope for more participants for the next year. Now, we already did our first fundraiser this year, and so we did the Bento Box fundraiser, and thank you for everybody that did participate and bought tickets. I think Chief Federico bought the most from the city. I think he had like 6 that he purchased. But I thought it was really good, $25 for rice, sushi, teriyaki, vegetables, and a salad. I thought it was a really good deal. Now what's next? We do want to continue the program, and so we do want to continue to fundraise. And we also got some ideas from our visits. At this point, I've already gone to Puerto Vallarta 5 times. Once to get to know their sister city committee, another time to actually do the actual signings. another time to see their Day of the Dead celebration, and then last year's to get to know the schools, and then now this last year I went to deliver the scholarships. But we also have some other ideas. I think Puerto Vallarta was one of the first cities to bring the lovely letters in their city, and I think they're made out of, they got like a metal base, and they're made out of wood, but they're very colorful and they're really nice. They're not like the letters from other cities in Mexico, but that's an idea that we were thinking about that would be nice. Obviously, we would need like city council approval for something like this, but I mean, just imagine the letters of Port Hueneme out on the beach and people wanting to go and take pictures. And there's a lot of places that those letters could be placed. There's also a really nice plaza with mosaic tile art by the beach, and that's something that Ozzy, one of our sister city members, thought that would be really nice that we can do somewhere in the city. But there's a lot of different types of art in Puerto Vallarta, and so these are some of the examples from some of the art that's found on the beach, and it's very simple. This is one of their local artists, Manuel Lepe, but they have a lot of different types of artists. But that's one of the ideas. Another idea that we thought about was maybe planting one of their trees. There's a tree that they have that blossoms around this time with really colorful orange and bright yellow flowers. I just don't know if that's part of our city palette, plant palette, but I think it'd be nice to have, just at least one tree planted here. And I like what you guys are doing, by the way, up in the front of City Hall. It's looking really beautiful. Can't wait to see it done. But are there any questions? I like to talk, but I also am considerate of your time.
Any questions, Councilmember Lopez? Correct. You, go ahead.
What date's the fundraiser?
So we're open and we're extremely flexible. The only thing that we ask is that it be during the school year so that the students can participate and perform, and not during the summer. So I think on the agenda it says May, but we were thinking end of May. And just like last year, we were very flexible with the dates that are available for the community center. If not, then I would say sometime in September, probably also mid to end of September. So if it can't be during May, then sometime during September. But I think if we can get it approved by the end of May, that's about 6 weeks. I think we can get it done, but we need to start selling the tickets. We need to start getting, making sure we get all the sponsors and get all the materials. As of right now, we have Carnitas El Brother, who's willing to provide the food. So that's something that we're really looking forward to, because it is a local business within the city of Hueneme.
Anything else?
Should pick a date.
I did have one question. Can you just help me understand the fiscal impact where it says the application fee is $32, the refundable deposit is $500, and the fee is $750? Does that mean it's really like $200 and some dollars?
No, the fee's $750. The application fee's $32, so that's about $782. And then typically there's a $500 security deposit that's refundable.
Oh, that's a different. That's
Yeah.
okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure I understood that.
So the potential waiver, as the council approved last year, was waiving all of those.
Okay,
those
got it.
things.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
And then all we had to provide was insurance for the event.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Got it. Anything else? Okay. So we have before us. Any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hold on just a minute.
I'll just, if I
Go
can
ahead,
note while
yes.
you're
I'll
doing
make sure I'm at the wrong thing.
so the way we wrote the resolution in the staff report is that we basically wrote it to say tentatively May of 2026 to answer that question, but obviously as long as the date chosen by the committee doesn't conflict with another use at the community center, we'd be flexible with that. And as soon as we have a date, we'll share it with the council as well. So.
Great, thank you. If nothing else, we have before us the recommendation to consider whether to adopt a resolution waiving fees associated with the Sister City Committee's use of Orvine S. Carpenter Community Center auditorium for the fundraiser in or around May somewhere.
Yeah.
Is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I just want to say, Bobby, you've done a great job in a short time bringing the Sister City program to where it is. Thank you both for all the hard work and your investment and time and money and what you're doing with the kids is just wonderful. I look forward to seeing more in the future and hopefully supporting you more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And
Pro Tem
I would like to
Hernandez.
add to that to keep on it. You know, it's funny, we were talking about Hueneme High School Band. They were down to 9 members, and they got a new director, and she's been there 3 years, and now they're looking at 40, and next year they're looking at 70. You know, we have examples of that, and so I really hope to see this grow and grow and grow because it could be super impactful for both sides. Right. And the education focus is beautiful, and just keep up the great work.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I do want to mention that I was accompanied by our president, Joey, and our vice president, Rich Rollins, and we also had our treasurer, Becky, who did her public comment earlier, but that's the main core of our board.
You're doing a great job. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, you know, the city of Port Hueneme's name is written all over whatever you do. So the return on investment, I think we're benefiting from that. So what you've asked us, and we're just talking about tonight, what you've asked us for is, I think, is well worth the benefit that we receive as a city. So thank you so much for what you continue to do.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, no discussion. Take a vote.
Okay, and Mayor, just because I didn't hear it clearly, but I'm just confirming that this is to adopt the resolution.
Yes.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. We're going to move on to item number 13, recommendation for reservable spaces, fees, and permitted activities in city parks. And we're going to turn it over to the staff.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and I'm going to introduce Charles Peretz from our city manager's office and Anna Hanley, who's our recreation and community services manager. But before I did that, I just wanted to note and maybe sort of set the stage a little bit that I think over the last couple of years and even just tonight, we've really put an emphasis on really trying to invest in our parks and bring visitors to our parks and keep looking for, you know, ways to improve the park experience or ways to trying to figure out what people need from the parks or want from the parks and how we can be responsive to those things. So this item is an interesting one because we've talked recently about, you know, there's a lot of things that were either permitted that I don't know that people knew or prohibited that I didn't, you know, that we didn't know if people knew, or things that, you know, maybe weren't allowed in the past that now there's, you know, opportunities to allow those things, or vice versa, things that weren't prohibited in the past that we've heard complaints about. So I think the idea with this item really is, now that we've really invested in the parks with the Bubbling Springs project and the Bolker Park Playground and the Miranda Park Playground coming soon, and we're getting trying to bring more visitors to the parks, that we want to also make sure to get council feedback on some of the priority items related to reservations of the parks or uses of the parks and permitted activities. So I think tonight we'll be walking through some things, and we're just looking for the direction from the council of if we're going in the right direction, if we should go further, if we aren't going in the right direction. But most of these things will also require like an additional, code change, or some of these things will require code changes or ordinances. So we're wanting to make sure we're going in the right direction as we're rolling these things out. And so with that, I'll introduce Charles and Anna to talk about some of those items.
Thank you, City Manager, and good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and anybody who's left.
So, as the city manager indicated, this is intended to provide options and seek direction from the council. As you may recall, this is a follow-up from a discussion that the council had October 20th, 2025, when staff provided an overview of the park reservation process with a focused emphasis on Bubbling Springs Park. That presentation was provided in response to council's request for detailed information about how reservations are managed and enforced. During that discussion, council members shared feedback and offered several suggestions for staff consideration. Those included enhanced signage at reservable picnic areas to improve clarity for park users, establishing rules requiring groups to vacate spaces when they're reserved by another party, exploring enhanced service levels for picnic area reservations, considering the inclusion adjacent to Picnic Area 2 as part of the reservation for that area, establishing guest capacity limits, and evaluating whether to allow amenities such as barbecues and bounce houses, which are not currently allowed by the city. This report provides information in response to the council's questions and includes recommendations and options based on issues observed by staff, many of which have emerged as a result of increased park use. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Anna Hanley, our Recreation and Community Services Manager, to walk through the city's recommendations related to these considerations.
Good evening. There are three main objectives that we're looking to achieve as far as signage at our reservable spaces. The kiosks pictured here are adjacent to the amenities that are subject to reservation. We provide instruction about the reservation process, including the QR code, phone numbers for both business hours and after-hours contact, along with the posted schedule of approved permits, which is changed out weekly. Tonight, we're recommending several municipal code amendments for your consideration. First, being failure to vacate a space that has been permitted to another party constitutes a violation of the code. Second, staff recommends the code reflect that inflatable bounce houses are allowed, subject to city-issued permit and use of pre-approved vendor. The city's practice of not permitting use of such devices in city parks has been based on prior communications with PIA, and the effort to mitigate risk exposure. We recognize the regularity of this type of request, and all neighboring cities require the use of pre-approved vendors in addition to a permit. Expanding the code to include this requirement is our recommendation this evening. Next, personal propane barbecues to be allowed in city parks. Other types prohibited. Barbecues may not be located within specified distances from trees and shrubs. Staff is looking to introduce the allowance for barbecues in city parks and recommends specifying propane models, given there are no hot coal receptacles offered at this time, while also potentially reducing risk associated with an open flame. Amplified sound, installation of temporary structures, for-profit tournaments, and use of on-site vendors is handled through the special use permit process, not a park permit process. Unfortunately, we have experienced a couple of instances where regular park reservations made online were expanded to event-level occurrences without our knowledge. Also, the use of designated park spaces for non-designated use is prohibited. For example, this language would support the prohibition of dogs on sports courts or athletic fields. And finally, the installation of personal property in parks is prohibited.
Can I ask a couple of questions right now? Because I'm getting a lot of information. So installation of personal property, what is that?
Mayor?
Oh, I'm sorry. What would that be? An example?
Sure. So, for instance, we've witnessed individuals affixing their own lights to the existing light poles within the multi-use fields to circumvent the reservation process. So we're speaking in terms of maybe not party decorations at a picnic area, but perhaps bringing in accompaniments to the existing park features that would forego the regular reservation process.
Okay, and one more. When you said that permits, park permits were given, but then they were used to do things at a special use permit, did the reserver do that, or through the process they were given approval to do something that shouldn't have been?
Sure, it was the reserving party. So for instance, a person may convey to us as a regular member of the public that they intend to use the space for family in a normal use, just to ensure that they have a right to access that particular space on the date and time that they intend. However, when they were in the space, may have hosted an event level tournament for profit and collected fees and or brought out accompanying vendors and hosted an event that we would usually use the special use permit process in order to review their request. So it's a fine balance, but we've found that we need to sort of rein that in a bit.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Can I just quickly, if I can jump into, so I just wanted to give the background on this, that I think part of what, where a lot of these issues come from is that now that the parks are very popular, these are the problems we're seeing. And so just to give that background. And so, yeah, we've had people come and say that they want to rent the, the sports field for their family to come play, and then they show up with with vendors and trucks and everything. And they're charging fees for other people to use the parks. The thing about the dogs on sports courts, it's one of the most common complaints we get from all the pickleball users is that people will take their dogs into the court, and then technically there's no rule on the books that says that you can't do that. So that's something we're trying to respond to. Yeah, the installation of personal property in parks, that one shocked me when I heard that, basically when people would find out that they had to pay for the lights, that they would go and start installing their own lights. So these are really common sense things, but victim of our own success, because nobody really used, or because the park wasn't used to this level before, it was never a problem before, but now we're seeing that it is. And then that top one, I think some council members and staff had heard about an incident right before the last time we discussed this, where somebody showed up and just said, we said, that space is rented, and they just said, I'm not moving. And there was nothing in the code to force them to move. Right. So a lot of these things are just things where we're saying, now that the park's pretty crowded, and now that people are really wanting to use it, we realize that there's some rules that we need to implement to make sure that everybody gets a fair shot at using the park. So.
Thank you.
So on the installation of personal property, I think it just needs to be spelled out more clearly, because just yesterday, and I don't mind it, in Miranda Park near my house, people technically installed personal property. Now, so in other words, the lights is something I never heard of. So I think, no use, are we going to allow use of generators? I mean, these are things that...
Yeah, this is different. So bringing a generator isn't installing personal property. So this is really next level, people coming and starting to dig into the ground and things like that. Yeah.
Because I just think it's very vague.
Yeah, and so
so a cooler. Well, you could bring a cooler.
Yeah, it's not that's not what we're referring to.
Probably add more language.
Yeah, and so that's what I was going to
code.
say is keep in mind. So we're asking staff, our council, to agree that we should write these codes. So these are not the code amendments. So the code amendments will have to be more specific.
Okay.
So
we'll have room for discussion.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
I should have made that more clear. Picnic areas and level of service and capacity limits. Council requested information in regards to enhanced service levels for picnic area reservations. So in response, staff researched this. The city to clean and prep a site before permit use, cleaning tables in seating areas, clearing trash from reserved areas, and emptying adjacent trash cans. The standard 3-hour picnic reservation fee currently is $60 for a resident and $90 for a non-resident. This would increase by $100 to each one of those fees if we included those particular services as an enhancement. The use of the adjacent restroom for a permit in regards to picnic area number 2, this would require unlocking, stocking, and locking. The standard 3-hour picnic reservation fee of $60 for a resident and $90 for a non-resident would increase by $200. The additional restroom building offering, I just wanted to provide a little history on that, was incorporated into the redesign of the park to be proximate to the area of play. Prior to the park renovation, the Little League rented portable toilets annually to offer players and their families a restroom that was within a timely and safe distance for young players during their games. The Little League currently maintains the restroom building throughout the week. City custodial staff services this restroom only once a week, and the Little League is responsible to refresh and restock after each use. As far as the capacity limits, staff has amended the park permitting language to notify permittees that picnic areas are limited to 50 guests based on size and seating capacity. Inquiries that include a guest list over 50 attendees are routed to the special use permit process for further review.
One final thought on this slide. The additional cost that we're talking about for the overtime would be offset by the user fee. It would effectively be a net zero game for the city. We would neither incur an additional cost, nor would we profit off of that. The cost associated that would be charged to the user would be offset by the additional fee that would be collected. So I just wanted to note that very briefly. The item that has been presented was intended to provide additional information for the council to consider and to seek additional direction from the council regarding the park reservation process and general park uses. By way of quick review, what we talked about tonight and what we're seeking direction on, the items under consideration include whether or not to direct the staff to amend the code to address the following items: to establish penalties for failure to vacate permitted areas, to allow bounce houses in city parks, and as staff has proposed, that would include a separate permit process, insurance requirements, and a list of pre-approved vendors. This would ensure that the location chosen is under the direction of the city with the pre-approved vendors, and that the vendors understand how to locate without impacting or adversely damaging the park. Another item to be considered as an amendment to the municipal code. Currently, we don't allow for barbecues technically, so we're proposing that we would allow for barbecues. To minimize, again, impacts to the park, we're proposing that the personal barbecues that would be allowed would be propane-based and not charcoal, but we would allow charcoal in city-designated barbecue areas. The next would be to amend the code to prohibit, as the city manager referenced before, the unintended activities in designated areas such as athletic fields and sports courts, and the dog example is the best one. And then, as we talked about, based on the increase in use, staff have observed a couple of things, and we're recommending that additional modifications to the code be authorized or direction be given by the council, and that includes clarification of which activities and uses require a special use permit, and the prohibition of installing personal equipment, for example, the lighting. And again, as was stated, if that direction was given from the council, we would come back with more refined language to be specific about what is prohibited, and so that was not just broad-reaching and excluding things that we didn't want to exclude. And then lastly, for direction from the council to consider whether or not we want to amend the fee schedule to include a new fee for the additional services associated with picnic reservations, and then to answer the question of whether or not we want to include that new restroom with the reservation of the picnic area. So those are the issues that we're hoping to get direction from the council. Again, many of those things would require us to return to council should we get the direction that council wishes for staff to proceed.
Right, great, great.
Are we ready for questions?
Yes, go right ahead.
All right. So, a couple things here. I saw the fees, and just quick thoughts were self-service verification. We have a Wainimi Go app. You know, we should waive the $100 fee by agreeing to leave it better than you found it. So if you take a picture and it's clean, then you take a picture as you leave. 3 hours later, and you should, you know, you're not going to incur any fees. But if it's trashed before you get there, what is the person who's actually permitting that area is, what are we doing? Or is that person in charge of that cleanup?
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a rhetorical question. So yeah, right now, city staff performs a level of service, provides maintenance according to the established schedule. So the condition at the time of the beginning of the reservation, whether that be an evening reservation or a weekend reservation, would be dependent on the last time the city cleaned it and any use that has occurred since that time. So for instance,
So think of a Sunday when someone checked it out on Saturday.
yeah, exactly.
The trash is full.
So if there was maintenance done early on a Saturday morning, and there was plenty of use during the day, and someone had a late in the day use on a Sunday, we currently don't have the level of service where that would be cleaned again later in the day prior to a 3 p.m. picnic reservation. So in that case, yes, the expectation would be that the user would be responsible for cleaning that because we don't currently have that service. That's why what's proposed is if we wanted to provide that, that would be an additional service.
There's no trigger to impose a penalty for the user who, say, checked it out on a Saturday. He could just leave it trashed, and the new permitter on Sunday is basically gonna self-clean because they're gonna host a party.
At present, there's no guidelines, expectations, or requirements regarding.
Yeah, I just think that we should have some kind of leave it better than you found it policy. Maybe put a $100 deposit that's refundable. That's one. Okay, so the other thing I have is the restrooms used to be inclusive to Port Hueneme Little League, correct?
I'm sorry, one more time?
The restrooms for that picnic area too were exclusive to Port Hueneme Little League.
At present, they are the group that has access to those, and as noted in the
So
presentation.
they have priority requests in our current structure now.
Their use is tied to the agreement that was approved by council and the use associated with that agreement.
Yeah,
And
and
they have
it's priority.
responsibilities. Yeah, they have responsibilities for cleaning and maintaining the restroom.
Okay, so if I was to, say, rent all the baseball fields for a weekend sports event, and I'm gonna get a special permit, and shouldn't that restroom be included?
Right now, the use of the restroom wouldn't by default be available through a permit process. If there was a special event that required an agreement, like the Little Leagues that went through the council, that could be something that would be included.
That's what I'm saying. We need to have an agreement where if I have corporate games there that are not associated with Hueneme Little League, then there should be a way to reserve that restroom to
Sure.
open it.
And that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. If the council collectively gives us that direction, that's an amendment we would make to the current policy.
Okay. So the other thing too, I know the question is, well, I got to bring in staff to open these restrooms. Cipher locks, combination locks that are only good for the day, so that we don't have to bring staff in. We got to have creative ways that we're not utilizing staff, but at the same time we're providing service.
Yeah.
So those are the things that
If I could, I think I hear the idea of trying to maybe figure out some sort of self-service option that wouldn't require staff. So I think if, with that direction, we could explore that and then tell the council what that would look like.
Okay. That's all I got.
So I think there's a lot of nuances that aren't being covered, and being that Easter was yesterday, and at the end of my cul-de-sac, there's a large family that's been coming probably for 7 years. Every holiday, they bring trucks, they unload barbecues, tables, chairs, they install their own volleyball court. They have a wonderful time. They leave it cleaner than they find it, but the city has no idea that this is happening. I think it's a good thing. I don't complain. And yes, they do take up all the parking on my street. And yes, they do, they're there. And with the exception of Easter and confetti eggs, they really do leave it cleaner than they found it. But I think we have to take a step back and look at the reality of Hueneme Beach Park, for example, or Bubbling Springs Park on Easter, or Miranda Park on Easter. There were multiple families in Miranda Park, and some of which drove their trucks over to collect all their personal items behind the playground that has just been removed. So they set up in various places around Miranda Park. They have barbecues. They're barbecuing and they're having a wonderful time. And generally speaking, they clean up. But the city has no idea this is happening. But when it comes to these fixed areas at the ball field that somebody is renting to have a birthday party, there's gonna be barbecues, whether they're gas or charcoal, probably a coin flip. Down at the beach park, I was shocked to find out, because every holiday, Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day, we have a community barbecue where we have multiple barbecues that we brought and used, charcoal included, gas included. And then I look across the horizon and there's literally 50, 60 groups of people using barbecues, charcoal, not gas. There's even some people that tow in a barbecue, these big old things, and they're cooking chicken, and they're, have big groups. So I think we have to just realize that what we have on paper isn't the reality of what's going on. And, if we, and then the other thing is that the city, Hueneme Beach Park, for example, and it's all making sense now. Remember, there was a time where, we had these no parking signs at Bubbling Springs that basically said, we don't want you in the park on Saturday, Sunday, and holidays, which, we were shocked to find out that policy was in place for 24 years, and we rectified it correctly, I believe. So as a city, do we want people using our parks? Yes. On Easter, do we want large family gatherings occurring in our parks? I would say yes. Do we want to have rules on the books that we have no intention of enforcing? I would say no. No. And, when it comes to the charcoal and, we just want to use the barbecues that are in place at the beach. Well, we lost 9 or 10, maybe even more, fixed barbecues that the beach had in place. We lost them to the ocean, and they've never been replaced. And I would have to say that the reason why we never use the city-provided barbecues is because they're kind of not what you would expect. They're just different. And the thing is, if you would barbecue your chicken and then there's still hot coals there and you're waiting for them to die, and the wind kicks up, there is a fire exposure. So we're not trying to eliminate risk, we're trying to manage risk. And I think we could, I think we just need to be realistic as to what our community desires of our parks. And I think our community desires to pull up, unload a barbecue, whether it's charcoal or gas, do it responsibly, and leave the place better than you left it. Now, if I'm gonna pay money to rent a place, that's a different discussion, I think. So, and I have rented a place in Montecito for many years, Manning Park, and it costs $400, and they meet you there, and it's a really great experience, you know, but you're getting what you pay for. And so I hope that we can just reflect the reality of our beach. We're not trying to eliminate risk, we're trying to manage risk. When it comes to Jolly Jumpers, make sure the city is named additionally insured, which I'm sure we are, right? Vendor has to prove they have adequate insurance, name the city additionally named insured. And if we're doing all those things, I think we are managing the risk. And so I know I'm being macro right now, but when we get down to final recommendations, you know, let's try to reflect the reality of our community. And we have a park-minded barbecue community that likes to come and barbecue at the beach, including me. So I hope that we could do something that makes sense for everybody.
So I appreciate staff coming back with the recommendations and trying to make this work. My question is that once we do put this into an ordinance, did staff consider the enforcement mechanism? What would be the enforcement process for some of these measures, such as the barbecues, the Jolly Jumpers, the cleaning of the locations after use? Something goes wrong, what's the enforcement mechanism? Who do you call?
I think the answer to that is going to depend on which specific issue or violation we're talking about. We, I think, can very easily think that the issue with refusal to vacate a permitted area would probably be a law enforcement response. Okay. The issue of, and again, it depends on time of day, but the issue of Jolly Jumper showing up, not going through the right process, not having a permit, not having the insurance, would probably be more of a code issue, as would potentially the use of any barbecue that wouldn't be allowed, although that sounds like that might not be the direction that the council might go in. So I think it depends on the nature of the violation. Should we get information from council to draft an amendment to the code?
Yeah, I'm concerned with the fires, campfires, and using barbecue bricks in our parks, because you don't always know what's going to happen with those briquettes after they're done. If they're going to leave them there, they're going to put them in the trash. It's just that's a risk that I don't know that we want to take. But I hope that some enforcement mechanism can be put into this when you guys come back with
yeah,
another
I'll be honest,
version.
I will say I think some of the categories will probably be reactive enforcement rather than proactive enforcement. But depending on the time of day, the day of the week, and the level of violation would probably dictate who is going to respond.
Yeah. And I do like the self-service idea. If you guys could come up with some creative ideas on that. I'm sure there's lots of examples from other city parks in other cities. So. Okay, that's all I have.
Yeah, great, thank you. Yeah, so thank you all for your report. I think it's very important to have something in writing. If you don't have something in writing, then anything can happen, and we don't want anything to happen. And I think I heard you say that there might be different codes in different locations, because, did I hear you say that? Like you said, I thought you said something about the propane barbecues, and then you said that might not be the case for another location, or are we looking at codes that's going to be covering all the same codes for all public parks? I guess that's the question.
Well, that would be at the direction of council. Our thought is that we would treat all park areas in the same fashion.
In the same fashion, okay.
But if council saw that there was a reason to distinguish among different park areas, that would certainly be.
No, yeah, I don't have a preference. I just think it's important, and I'm with Mayor Pro Tem, is that there has to be an enforcement mechanism, or we'll be like we've kind of talked over the years of having codes and policies that we don't really do anything about. So I think this is important enough, and the park is new. We want it to remain new, in good shape, and to do that, I think you have to have some policies in place, so appreciate that.
And I just want to add that I think the city staff has done a wonderful job on holiday weekends. And if anyone here hasn't been to the beach on a holiday weekend, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, it is like, I mean, there's picnicking, barbecuing going on in multiple places where you probably think it would never be possible. And I think generally speaking, people are good, people are responsible. And I think, you know, I think we should govern with that in mind. You know, I don't think, I mean, you know, the fire pits down there, the risk that you're speaking about with Broquettes, it's right there on the beach waiting to be blown out of the fire pit. And so do people show up with a shovel with the intention to shovel all the hot embers up and take them in a hot bucket and dump them in the ash pit? No, people don't do that. And so I think we just have to be realistic.
I think I heard you make the comment that there isn't currently equipment to handle the charcoal. There's nowhere to put the hot coals.
Not in parks, but for
Not
the
in
beach.
parks. Yeah, the beach has that, so that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
But
so-
other locations don't.
So I would like to add that all these things that we're talking about, all these extra things that we're adding will also increase staff time and budgets, because when we do enforcement, we have to pay somebody to enforce these things. So that's also something to note. Well,
There's
but
only
then
really
if
one.
if we start, not all the fees though. I mean, some of the fees they're talking about aren't necessarily for the barbecue issue. They're not going to cover that increase. That's only for cleaning up the picnic areas. But then we have to look at, if we're going to have $200 to rent a picnic area, who's going to be left out from our community that's not going to be able to afford to reserve a space at our parks? We're going to be leaving out a lot of people who can't afford it.
Yeah, but the good thing is that if it's not reserved, it's open to the public.
And that's right. If they're not reserving it, people are using it anyway. So then what do we do about the people who are leaving a mess that haven't reserved it?
Yeah, I wanted to give an example, I think, that kind of addresses some of the questions. And Councilmember Gama mentioned the park being full for Easter, right? And like, that's what we want. We want everybody out using all the amenities. And if everybody's out using everything and everybody's happy and there aren't any complaints, then there's no issue, you know? And I always tell people, you don't write the codes for the people that follow the rules. You write the codes for the people who don't, you know? And so, so a day like yesterday, everything's good, great. But what I think we're responding to is there have been times where then somebody calls us and says, hey, I had a reservation and they're not honoring it. Or, hey, this person's doing this thing on the soccer field that they're not supposed to be doing. Or this person's digging into the baseball fields. So really, we wouldn't be sending our staff out, you know, daily to like inspect and walk through constantly. It would be on Easter when everything's going great. We're not out there like patrolling it. But then when we get a call and somebody says that I had a reservation and these other people took it over and they're not letting me there, then what happened the last time is our police actually, I think our parks responded initially. They refused to leave, so our police responded, and then our police said there's no law here that we can enforce. So
That's a problem.
Well, there was a law, but it's not part of the code. It was it was a criminal code, and they
Right.
cited them
Yeah,
for
and
something
so-
else.
So the person who had rented the space basically said, I give up, I'm just gonna leave, and then the person who didn't rent the space got to stay. And so we wanna fix that situation. So these are, I wanna be clear that it's like, we would plan to enforce these, but it would be as needed when we're asked to. It wouldn't be,
Right.
you know,
That
proactive,
makes
trying to
sense.
harass people at the park who are just having a good time.
Right.
I think the biggest thing I'm hearing is the barbecue thing, and I had a thought, and I think you guys, council was going in the same direction, is one thing we could look at is, you know, we can do some more research on that and bring that back, but it could be even something like, you know, if there's this equipment at a park, then barbecues would be allowed there, and if there's not that equipment at the park, the barbecues wouldn't. So we could even look at something like that. But I do think the barbecues I think there's generally consensus on the other issues. I think the barbecues is a challenge, and then while we're looking at that, we can also look at the self-service options and bring those back for the self-serve. And then that last piece was, I think we were looking for that direction. I think I've heard it though already, is that initially when Bubbling Springs was done, really, you know, it was done with the Little League had exclusive use of facilities at that point. I think we're hearing from the council that at this point the thought would be if other people are going to rent those fields, then they should be able to use the amenities, you know, with probably the one asterisk being I think we did give them exclusive. Are they still kept exclusive use of the snack bar? Yeah, so that'd be the one exception. So,
but if a group rents the baseball fields, I mean that's a big investment, right? I mean that's not.
Yeah, but potentially, you know, like for example, council's approved items where the school district, you know, maybe they're not using all of them, but they're using some of the baseball fields. So that could be something where then we'd have the ability, if they wanted to use some of the amenities, where we could work with them on that. So you know, probably not super common or super likely, but there could be opportunities, or somebody else who comes to town and wants to hold a tournament or something like that.
But one concern I have is that are we, you know, I understand enforcing the rules on rented space. That's very clear, no issue there. Coming up with the rules that we believe are reasonable and could be accommodated and all that, that's fine. But when it comes to like you know, Bubbling Springs Park, Miranda Park, Bolter Park, you know, when on holiday weekends like yesterday, and large groups, families show up, they bring their own barbecues, their own tables, their own chairs, their own volleyball courts, and they spend the entire day having a wonderful time. Are we going to say you can't do that anymore? And that's what concerns me, especially down at the beach. You know, there's I mean, it's incredible to see the amount of barbecues that come out, charcoal, you know, and it's occurring, you know, and so are we going to suddenly just crack down? I hope not.
I think with that example you gave, everything you listed, they'd be able to do except potentially the barbecues, but that's where we're saying
propane.
Yeah, propane would be allowed, or if we were to look and see if there was a way to have some equipment like a ash receptacle installed or something.
Right, but again, like there is a city provided barbecue that is very hard to use. It is.
It's at the beach, right?
Yeah. It's very hard to use.
I think we're talking about the parks.
Well, the beach is a park.
But and the way I'm proposing it though would be that because the beach has ash receptacles, that theoretically we could say that would be allowed there.
Okay, and then
this is all where we're looking for council.
And I'm trying to and I do understand the risk associated with the Jolly Jumper rebounding device. I get that. In terms of liability, what's the worst case scenario that a city faces? And I try to think of a scenario in my mind. So some kid is walking down the park, sees a Jolly Jump, and goes, "Hey, I'm going to just jump in there," and gets injured severely, head injury, and then suddenly there's a lawsuit because of catastrophic injury. Is that, and then the city is dragged into it because, hey, it was on your park, and you know what, you just let anyone come set up a Jolly Jump. My kid's walking by and gets in there. Is that the scenario that we fear?
Exactly the scenario.
They're
You
going to
say
include the
that
city.
like worst case scenario.
Money bags.
I mean, it's not even that. Even the guests at their own event, you're making it a stranger walking up. But if a person has a park reservation and it's their own kid in their own jumper, they're still going to sue the city.
Right.
Should make them sign a waiver.
Right. Well,
but they're still
no,
going
but
to sue. They're still going to sue.
Still going to sign. Yeah.
The waiver. Forget the waiver. The catastrophic injury is where it drives the lawsuit. And so, for me, from the risk management perspective, is there a mechanism to be named additionally insured by that approved vendor, right? Because that's what because without that, then the city is the deep pocket.
That's what staff is proposing, is having vendors pre-qualify by providing their insurance and their indemnification and all of their information to the city ahead of time.
Right, and
so
then
when the reservation comes in, you can.
So in the event that a non-authorized Jolly Jump is in Miranda Park, and staff and staff does a very good job on holiday weekends. They're there all day. They're picking up. They're emptying full trash cans. They're accommodated. But in the event that, hey, that's an unauthorized Jolly Jump there, we got to shut it down, right?
So
I would
Theoretically,
recommend
we
that we
have.
do.
I mean, that's where we should be putting our effort.
Yeah, and
At unauthorized Jolly Jumps versus somebody with charcoal.
Well, both.
No.
The language as we propose it is intended, you know, by saying what is allowed, you're also saying what's prohibited. And right now in the code, it doesn't really say what's prohibited. So that would be one of our intents, is that we would be able to say unauthorized Jolly Jumpers who don't go through all of these requirements aren't allowed at the park.
But to me, that's a red flag. Remember, I gave you an example of red flag, red, yellow, green events, and I think Jolly Jump was a yellow, right? That's a
with
Ventura
all
County
the
School self-funding.
appropriate
Right,
permits, yeah.
right.
And you went through JPIA, right, to get the Jolly Jumper,
We've had multiple conversations with JPIA, and as I indicated in the presentation, for years they have indicated that they believe it's a high-risk activity. They cautioned against it. We have shared with them that based on our research, there are a number of geographically adjacent municipalities that do allow it. They allow it in the fashion that we've actually described in what our recommendation is regarding pre-approved vendors, identified locations, appropriate insurance with the city named additional insured. So that's the basis of the recommendation.
But then the one other thing, and I know I'll be quiet, is that we have a lot of interaction with school districts. So school districts come and use our facilities, and they may bring a Jolly Jump. And school districts have their own red activity, green activity. Jolly Jumpers is yellow activity, so they're in the same position. You know, they don't want to say no. They're trying to manage risk, not eliminate it entirely. And so, you know, I think, you know, I gave an example to city manager of what the Ventura County School Self-Funding Authority does in these regards. And I think it's something that we may want to take a look at and try to mirror and get with our JPIA and see if we could get agreement, because oftentimes schools are coming onto our property and a well-intended teacher may do something that we're not aware of or their school district is not aware of. And so I think there's a lot of, I think we do have to pay attention to what our school districts are doing, because after all, many times they're using our facilities.
Question for the attorney.
I almost got there this whole night, and then right at the end.
Can we write into the ordinance, you know, bounce houses that are unapproved, the city takes no legal jurisdiction over any injuries of?
You know, I think of it like those when you go park somewhere and you get a ticket and it says, we're not responsible for lost or stolen. You can say whatever you want. We can say it in the code. We can say it on a sign. We can say it anywhere. But whether it doesn't, stop anybody from being able to sue you, and it also doesn't immunize you in any way either. So, yes, we can have people who apply for things, you know, as part of that reservation or that agreement or that permit has a waiver of rights, but everybody else who's being there who didn't sign that is not going to be applicable to it. So I'm sure we're going to work on the language for these. There's different ways to make it permissive, like you may not, or in the negative, you cannot bring a bouncy house to a park unless you have a permit, or you may only bring bouncy houses with an approved permit. There's different ways to phrase it that have different implications that I'm sure the language that'll be brought back to you. Okay. But at this point, it's just I think we've heard the big concern. I think we all share the same concern with it, wanting to allow it, but with making sure we have the right protections in place. So
I
make sure to work with them.
I will say, so we had a family reunion here in August at the beach park. Was it Oxnard Beach Park? And you absolutely, when you go to through the reservation tool, it says if you are going to have a Jolly Jumper, you must use this list of Jolly Jumper companies, and you must have insurance, and you have to give them all that before you. And when you go to the site, your information is posted right there. And the guys are coming around, walking around, and they're looking to see who's got what. And so, like our Mayor Pro Tem said, there has to be a follow-through as it relates to us going out to the park and making sure people aren't, are following the rules.
Yeah, the hard part is, on that, in Bubbling Springs yesterday, every green space that was available was taken.
Yeah.
And so the reservations in the picnic areas were used, and they were checked out. So that it was,
Right.
to see the amount of people that were there was unbelievable. Tables, chairs, barbecues, it was all out there.
Yeah. But
I mean,
have-
it would be weird to go ask, can I see your permit for your,
Yeah, but it's like,
Maybe that's
what
it's
the
like,
kiosks are
yeah,
for.
but it's like anything
Right.
else. It's like anything else we do. You know, when we came to us having to add extra trash cans for your food waste, we had to communicate it out to the people.
then it's as simple then.
When it-
The
so
only
whenever
bounce
you do something,
houses,
you have to
the only
communicate it
bounce
out.
houses that can be used are in the picnic areas if you check it out.
Yeah.
You reserve it.
Yeah, so I imagine the first step would not be to go tell people you can't have it. I think the first step would be informing people that there is a process and you must go through the process and get it through these vendors.
So have we given staff everything that you need?
Yeah, I think what I hear is direction to proceed with these changes, but look at the barbecue issue further when we come back, have more detailed information on how that could work, to look into self-service options, that the restrooms look for ways to allow the restrooms to be utilized by people using reserving the parks, and then come back with an enforcement. Make sure we include an enforcement mechanism with that. So if that sounds good, we can move forward with that, and then come back with all that, another proposal for that. So.
Okay.
So how do we turn that into a
Great.
motion?
We're going to ask for.
I don't think you need a motion for that. You've just given direction to staff of considerations, and they'll bring something back to you next time that will require a motion.
Yeah, I don't think I asked for public comments, but I imagine there are no public comments.
Is there anybody left?
No public comment.
May I make one? May I make a
Do you
one
have
more?
anything to say?
One more suggestion is on the enforcement, maybe have a hierarchy
Yeah.
on enforcement priorities. Like, what is the highest priority on enforcement?
Yeah.
Especially on holiday days, because it's like Councilmember Lopez just said, like, I could speak for Miranda Park, and yeah, pretty much the entire park was being utilized by fun-loving people, and it's great.
Until you get a lawsuit.
And until somebody gets hurt, the fun is gone.
Think about 4th of July. I mean, during regular non-4th of July days, it's probably easier to enforce somebody misusing or using fireworks. But on 4th of July, it's just, you
Yeah.
can't expect that level of enforcement.
Right.
Just because of the sheer numbers of people out there doing that.
Okay, so since we don't have, thank you so much for your report. Appreciate it. And so, city manager mentioned the direction, so he'll be providing that to you all. Okay. So, the next we have city manager comments and reports.
Yes, thank you. I have
Keep
a
it
couple
quick.
slides. Yeah, I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
try to race here. Honestly, the main thing is we wanted to show off pictures of some of our recent events, so I won't even get into them. But we had our Sea Splash Color Dash 5K and Kids 1K, which sold out and had hundreds of participants, and so we wanted to thank everybody for coming to that. And
Look, there's you right there.
did they actually?
That's James right there.
Oh, that is you right
Oh,
in the
yeah,
middle.
yeah, okay. I actually didn't see that either. Oh. Oh, yeah. The bottom left picture. Rich is actually passing some people, yeah. So that was a great event, and thank you to everybody who came out. We also, I guess we talked today about how we were talking about a lot of the summer events. I think we were wrapping up the springtime events because we had a lot, and two included in there was 2 ribbon cuttings, one for the launch of the West Ventura County Business Alliance partnership with the city of Port Hueneme and serving as our community's chamber. And then, but also the ribbon cutting at Bolker Park, which was also a great event. It was the first ribbon cutting we successfully got kids to come out to, so that was exciting. Apparently, bribing them with ice cream is the way to go. So, and then shout out to our rec team for the work on the Extravaganza. Once again, was a huge success. And
Look at the baby right there.
we held that on March 28th.
Look how cute that is.
Yeah.
So cute.
And then coming up, I think sort of wrapping up springtime is we have Arbor Day on April 22nd. We're planning to plant a tree, plant trees at. They told me, but yes, native. One of our approved trees, but I'm blanking at this point. But there is a small map on that flyer. It's going to be near Wainimi and Surfside, near the creek. So anybody who wants to stop by will be out there on April 22nd at 10 a.m. to plant trees. And then shortly after that, the 25th will be our citywide spring cleanup event. April 25th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And a reminder for everybody, it's 3 locations: Wainimi Beach Park, Bolker Park parking lot, and the Orvine Carpenter Community Center parking lot. So, so those will be some of the last big spring events. And then just a preview of our next council meeting, April 20th. With those 2 items we just mentioned, we'll be doing presentations about Earth Day and Arbor Day. We're also going to have a presentation from the Museum of Ventura County as they celebrate their 2nd century. They told us, I think they came to the ribbon cutting event and spoke with some of the council members about that they wanted to come present some of their museum happenings. So, and then we have right now for business items and public hearings, we have a median ordinance that we had been talking about. We're going to be bringing that back. And then some business items, community development, reorganization, the revision to recreation fees, the recreation fee schedule. And we have been talking to the Navy. The Navy guardrail agreement that we had in place is coming to an end. So we're talking to the Navy now about an updated agreement, and we'll come back to the council with that as well. So on April 20th, those will be those are the currently scheduled items, and that is everything I have.
Great. We'll move on to council member reports.
I don't have any council member reports, but I do want to say Happy Easter to our community. It did feel good to see Bubbling Springs Park full, people celebrating, people having fun, and to hear the laughs. And it was just, it felt good to see that in our parks. And our parks are heavily used every weekend, and that's a testament to the good things that's happening for the city. So thank you to staff.
I don't have any reports, but comments. I guess it'd been a while since I went to Bubble Tree Park from the community center side, and I went there during the extravaganza. Our park is so nice looking. It is so pretty. Like, I just remember seeing the dog area and the little, I didn't realize there was a creek that they put right there through it. It's so pretty. And a sidewalk. But I also have a community comment. We had dinner at a local restaurant, IHOP, and they love our city and don't want to leave our city. They think our community development is amazing, and working with to get permits or whatever, they just had nothing but good things to say. I told them about the West Ventura Business Alliance, and that they'll have to get connected to that. But I like hearing when businesses have nothing but good things to say about our city.
Yeah, it's really nice to see the enthusiasm for parks and recreation, and tying that into the focus we have on youth and athletics and then wellness in the police department. I think it's all coming together very nicely, and I couldn't be happier to be a part of this organization. And I just wanted to, since August, Wainimi Beach Cleanup has had 1,300 volunteers, and I kind of made a mistake this last weekend because I've missed a text, and we had more people than I could accommodate, but we had like 158 people, and it was pretty fantastic. So yeah, since August, we've had 1,307 volunteers, and it really makes me proud to see all the young kids getting involved. Haydock, Oxnard, Wainimi, and it's really good. So come on out if you have the time. We got the buckets.
I don't really have much. I'm attending all my meetings. I do want to compliment staff and the decision to do the landscaping out front. I'm really excited to see that. I mean, some people on Facebook and social media, of course, complain, and I've taken a few to task, but of course they don't want to, they don't seem to understand it's grant funded, you know. But it's looking great, and I'm really excited to see it. I'm just wondering, you know, that little walkway as we come through the back door, that that dirt area to the right, are they going to do something with that little stretch right there?
I think so. I think there's still some plants back here
Okay.
that they're planning to put there.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah, I'm really excited about that. I have nothing else to report, thanks.
Okay, a couple of things. Mayor Pro Tem and I will be in DC on our next meeting day, and so we'll have to connect, establish a Zoom connection of some sort. I'll be getting there that night at 8 o'clock, so it'll be right around that time. And then on the 13th, April 13th, I'll be attending the Knights of Columbus Officer Recognition event. I'm working with Georgiana to get some certificates, and I'm told they'll have a complete list. We've been getting emails one person at a time, and I said, give me a whole list when you get it. So he said, that's the 13th, and that's going to be at the Knights of Columbus.
Public
And,
Safety Night?
Yes, and then I'll be, they said they'll provide me a list on the 9th of the complete list. Then on the 16th is the Boys and Girls Club ribbon cutting. So I'll be there. I've been asked to have a couple of words, so I'll be there. And then finally, just wanted to share, attending my meetings, of course, but I wanted to share that I saw some postings on Facebook regarding the state of our restrooms at the beach. And so maybe we can have someone take a look at the restrooms out there. And so that's all that I have. Is there anything else? If there's nothing else, we'll adjourn tonight's meeting at 10:06, and we will get back together on the 20th.